Patience, patience, patience. You can't have enough patience when we talk about May. I know we all want this team to win. We all want them back in the playoffs. We want Drake May to be QB1 as soon as humanly possible. Elevating his teammates, being that guy. We want that from Drake May, but we have to be patient with him. Here was the young quarterback today talking to the media about that interception.
I mean, I don't really have a say in what they do, so we're going to support whatever they do.
Didn't sound like Drake May.
Yeah, just a rookie mistake, no pun intended. We had a deep shot, and it was going to throw it flat late, and, in this league, you're going to cover the running back, so you got to make sure you look out there before you throw it.
Drake May has a very distinctive voice. Figure that wasn't May. So Drake May's somebody who's not going to get frazzled, at least from what we've seen, right? The way he talks, the way he walks, he's got swag, he's got confidence. Doesn't necessarily look like a guy who's going to melt down after a training camp pick. But we've got to remember about the patience. I mean, we knew who Drake May was when they drafted him. Think about all the conversations we had about May leading up to the draft. All the film, all the talk. Remember what we were saying about May. We were saying he's a little bit raw, right? He's not Jaden Daniels. Daniels has played college for seemingly 20 years. May's not that guy. May is somebody who you have to work with. You have to develop. There's a projection with May. There's that dreaded potential word with Drake May. That's who he was at North Kakalaka. That's who he was as a quarterback, right? That's who we knew they were drafting. Somebody who needed development. He didn't have it all figured out. He wasn't going to walk onto the field day one, minute one, and be a game changer consistently for this football team. And if you were expecting that, then you either weren't paying attention around the draft or your expectations were simply unreasonable. Patience. Patience is paramount with May. He is a raw, athletic, super talented young man. But we have to remember that first word. He's raw. And really, the biggest thing for me, watching May throughout this camp as we move forward, they'll put the pads on Monday finally. Watching May throughout this training camp, watching May at joint practice on Tuesday, August 13th against Philadelphia, watching him in the preseason, it's all about how is he going to respond. That's what you want to see. How does he respond against adversity? When he throws a terrible pick, what does he do? Does he melt? Does he allow the bad to move on downhill? Or does he pick himself up and figure out what to do next and to do something positive on the field? Evan Lazar on Twitter. Like the bounce back from May after the interception. In cut to Rager, shallow cross to Wells, quick out to Polk, and an angle to Hasty. So already we see it. We see that when May falls down, flat on his face with a bad interception, terrible decision, he comes right back and he does what we hoped that he would do. He responds, he reacts accordingly. And he puts on a string of plays that you look at, you say, hey, he didn't let it get to him. He didn't melt down in the moment. It didn't bother him, right? Here was May talking about that response.
Can't ride the ups and downs. Come at it. Every play's a new play, and just can't be too hard on myself. Sometimes I get hard on myself, especially like I said, throw my first interception. But gotta bounce back. It's how you bounce back in this league, and I'm starting to learn that. And I bet it's a lot different in the game when it really matters. So this is what practice is for.
I always go back to after the Patriots drafted May, in one of the first things that Elliott Wolf trumpeted, one of the first things that Gerard Mayo talked about was this idea that May, when he was at North Carolina, he faced adversity. And he not only faced adversity, he responded to that adversity. I remember Wolf saying he was one of the only quarterbacks in this class, if not the only quarterback in this class, that spoke to the media after his team lost. We remember the stories about Caleb Williams, right? We remember Williams not talking to the media, awkward moments with his teammates in post-game press conferences, looking like he was about to cry, saying he was going home and hanging out with his dog. Didn't always want to answer those questions. Didn't always want to stand in front of the cameras and talk about a game that he might not have played well or his team might have stunk. He didn't want to touch it. He wanted to look the other way. And Wolf and Mayo both talked about that right after they drafted May. And you couldn't help but draw a line from Mac Jones to May, right? Because Wolf and Mayo had just witnessed what happened with Mac. And not only what happened with Mac on the field, but what happened with Mac's emotions and how he reacted and how he failed to respond to some of those moments. And they wanted somebody that they were going to draft that would be capable of answering the questions, that would be capable of answering the adversity. And they pounded that after they drafted May on that Thursday night, talking about how he's used to facing adversity and how he had responded to it. He was the adult in the room. I remember Wolf talking about how May, he never, ever dodged questions, and he never threw his teammates under the bus. And when they met him at the combine, they had these conversations. They had the interviews. Even when plays went wrong and they weren't on May would take the accountability. He would take the responsibility of the mistake. And that, I can't tell you if he's going to be a great quarterback or not, but mentally, that's what you want to see, especially considering he's like 21 years old. This dude just became legal to drink. And he is not allowing the media to get under his skin. He's not throwing his teammates under the bus. That's one of the reasons why Wolf and Mayo loved May. It was because of the makeup. Yes, he's got great talent. But if you've got great talent and no heart, or great talent and you shrivel under the moments, great talent, but you do not face the adversity in a good way, that talent doesn't mean anything. We've seen a lot of talented athletes who are incapable of meeting the moment. In the makeup, this team told you from day one with this young quarterback, he's got the makeup. Let's also not forget that the offensive line is shuffling guys in and out all over the place. Today, all of a sudden, Chuks Okorafor moved from the left side to the right side. Caden Wallace, who had hardly any snaps, maybe like a handful of snaps at left tackle during minicamp, he went from the right to the left. They're mixing and matching up front, which is asking a lot of the young quarterback to keep his focus, not lose his ish when you've got different guys almost every single series of 11-on-11s. The offensive line shuffling has to impact all the quarterbacks that are at camp. He also doesn't have a run game to go to. They're not really running the football. The pads are not on until Monday. And we know that this offense, the basis of this offense, the foundation of this offense is the run game. Just look at Nick Chubb in Cleveland and what they did and how much they ran the football. Look at their pass rate towards the lower part of the league last season. And it's only day 3. It's only day 3. And what we have to focus on is the progression of the young man. This is a process. He's not going to figure it out overnight. The ups and downs that we read about today at camp is what we should expect. We should understand that this is going to happen, and we should embrace the idea that this is going to happen and want to see how he continues to respond. I want your thoughts. 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. Your thoughts on Drake May's first 3 days of camp. Is it what you expected? Any concern? I think it's way, way too early to talk about concern. It is just way too early to throw that out there. Let's go to Alex, the South Shore. Hey, Alex.
Hey, yeah, no, I think your take on comparing him to the antithesis of Mac Jones is completely wrong. I mean, that's what Mac Jones was credited for, is that he was able to put the mistakes behind him. And that's why even up until his last season, Bill Belichick said, well, we feel we can sit him 3 times is because he can bounce back. I don't care if Drake May can bounce back from an interception at this point. I want to know if he can play at an NFL speed and have an NFL arm. Those are the 2 things Mac Jones didn't have. That's what I care about. I don't care at this point whether or not he can bounce back from a mistake. I think that's an afterthought, and that's the exact same thing that Mac Jones was praised for.
Alex, I appreciate the phone call. I think we're talking about timeline here. Mac Jones coming out of the draft. Alabama Mac Jones, yes. People thought he had it all between the ears and he could get through pretty much anything, right? That was the thought. I'm talking about 2022 and then 2023 Mac Jones. Did Mac Jones look like he was battling adversity and responding when he was in Germany sitting on the bench about to cry himself to sleep? Did he look like he was okay with the adversity? When he was screaming at receivers and kind of losing his mind on the field, did that look like a quarterback who was cool, calm, and collected and was dealing with adversity? Not to me. I'm not talking about 2021 Mac Jones. 2021 Mac Jones is a memory. I'm talking about the last 2 years that we saw him. And I was a Mac Jones guy. But nobody can debate that his final 2 years, especially last season, he lost his mind at times. He was fried. Now, as far as Drake May, we all know he has an NFL arm. That's not even a question. That question has been answered. It was answered at North Carolina. He has an NFL arm. And I disagree with you about, who cares about, how he faces adversity and how he comes back, and that should be an afterthought. No way, no how. As he tries to figure out this league, as he progresses, right, as he turns into your quarterback one of the most crucial aspects of developing at the NFL level is how you respond to mistakes. Because if you don't respond to mistakes in the right way, you're going to suck. So I completely disagree with you on that. His response to his mistakes is a big deal. Because that's how he's going to become good. Because when you get stuck in the suck vortex and you can't get out of your own head, you have no chance. No chance on God's green earth. 617-779-0985. I am preaching patience with Drake May. Preaching that patience with May. 617-779-0985. I'll continue to get your reaction on the phones. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray. Also, Elliot Wolf hands out his latest extension. My opinion on that decision is coming up next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Happy Friday night to you and yours. By the way, did you watch that opening ceremony today, Scaz? Any of it?
Yeah, I watched some of it. Thought it was interesting, I guess I would say.
Interesting's a good word. Unique.
Unique. Kind of miss the stadiums.
I think we need to just keep things simple. I don't know if we need to go so theatric with the opening ceremony. How about the big hot air balloon? Where's that hot air balloon land? What do they do with it? Just trying to figure that out. I was like, they're just going to let that go? Really? Is that? Anyway, thanks for joining us. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray on a Friday night with you up until 11 o'clock. Scaz behind the glass. Drake May, up and down day today. Up and down day. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. I am certainly not panicked. It's 3 days of camp. And we have seen flashes from May, including today. It wasn't all bad for May. He had a deep ball to Jalen Polk, which was fantastic. He had a couple of other good throws. And I just think we have to try to keep a cool head when we talk about May. And I know that's difficult. I get it. I'm a New Englander. We tend to get a little hot every once in a while. And I know there's a lot of pressure on this team. Watching, them win 4 games last year, just a miserable season. We want them to be better, and we want them to be better immediately. But we got to take a deep breath. When May was drafted, the entire process of the draft, we kept talking about it. We kept hammering the idea that Drake May was a work in progress. He was not going to be somebody who just gets plopped onto the football field and looks uber polished, ready to go. That's not who the Patriots drafted. And that's why I liked the pick so much. I loved the idea of May. Swing big. You're picking third, swing big. And that's what they did. But us as fans, us in the media, we have to live with the downs as much as we get pumped up about the ups. We've got to live with these downs with May. We have to understand it is part of the process. Let's go to Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, Nick, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Hey, I just tuned in, and I heard your conversation with the previous caller comparing May to Mac Jones. And I might have just had a different perspective on what he may have been trying to say.
Okay.
About just his temperament, right? You're saying that's a good thing that he can move on from a bad play. And I believe the other caller was saying, well, Mac Jones, we also said that about Mac Jones his first year, That was a good thing about Mac Jones. And then we saw what happened to that positive trait that can turn negative pretty quickly. As far as a strong throwing arm or quick mentally processing, those typically don't go away as quickly as your mental could. The mental's very fickle. Some guys like Brady and Manning obviously have it and they go forward. But these young guys, you never know what things could or couldn't set them off. And it's hard to give them praise after that for only 3 days. Whereas the whole first year, we thought we had our guy in Mac with those same mental attributes,
Yeah,
so I think that's what that caller may have been trying to say.
All right,
that's
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Thank you for the phone call, but I appreciate it. And if that's what he was trying to say, then I get his point. I thought he was trying to say that Mac Jones was somebody who, got through adversity. And as I said, in 2021, yeah, there was that. So if that's what the caller was saying, then I get it. And you clarified his point. I'm sure he's thankful to you, Jeremy, for doing so. But look, I'm not going to go crazy about him responding to adversity on day 3. I'm not going to take anything as like a big statement this early in the man's career, right? That would be a mistake. It was just nice to see. It was the first opportunity to see how he would respond to something going wrong. How would he respond to a terrible play and terrible decision? And I can guarantee you this. If May did not respond well today, which he did, if after that pick he was rattled, after that pick he's sailing footballs into the crowd, he's throwing it at the feet of wide receivers, or he throws another interception or two after the initial pick to Judon, I can guarantee you this. We would have heard about it. And I can also guarantee you that some fans, not all fans, but some fans would be concerned. First shot at adversity, and the dude fell apart. he melted. So I just think it's a good thing that the first time he faced a challenge, the first time he royally screwed up and threw that pick, he came right back and responded and played some good football. And I think that's a good sign early on in this camp. Nothing more, nothing less. All right, let's get to the extension of Jabril Peppers. Field Yates earlier today reported that Peppers was getting a 3-year, $24 million extension worth up to $30 million. Here was his head coach, Gerard Mayo, talking about that extension.
Field Yates just tweeted out that
Yeah, I can't confirm it. I'm the head coach. I can confirm it. All right, so, hey, I will say this. I'll confirm it, but I am very happy, for Peppers and for his family and also for our team and organization. He really embodies everything that we want on the field. He's very selfless. He's out there flying around all the time, and it's good to get that deal done.
I love this deal. I absolutely love this deal by the Patriots. Peppers was arguably their best player defensively last year. From a consistent basis, I mean, that guy was out there every week playing hard. You didn't have Judon. You didn't have Gonzalez. They missed the majority of the season. And Peppers played great last year. He was a stud. And that's not hyperbolic. He was a stud last year for this team. If anybody in that locker room deserved an extension, it was Peppers off of his play in 2023. This team was trash. The defense wasn't, but the team was trash. The offense was trash. Special teams was trash. You were going nowhere fast. Quarterback play was abominable. It was embarrassing. But Peppers played his ass off from the very beginning to the very end of the season. He was a stud last year. And he's going to be 29 years old in October. So if you do the math, and I try not to do big math, the simple math tells you that he will be 32 years old at the end of this contract. So you are still going to get good years from him. They're not extending somebody who's going to be 35, 36 years old at the end of the deal, and you're worried about that last year or two. He looks like he has plenty of gas left in the tank. And the way that he works, I would not doubt his ability to stay in shape and remain a good football player for a number of years. And now you've got the future of safety locked in, right? Now you've got Duggar, who signed his deal in the offseason. You back that up with Peppers getting this extension. Now you've got Peppers and Duggar. Now what's interesting is, where will Duggar play? Is he going to play closer to the line of scrimmage this year? Because last year he played deeper on the back end, and it didn't work out great for him. So is he going to be inching closer to the line of scrimmage? Is he going to play in the box? And Peppers and Duggar are somewhat similar players, but they've got that hybrid safety / linebacker feel to their game. And so now you've got your two best safeties locked in for the next 3-4 years. And Peppers is just a tone setter, man, on and off the field. As you rebuild this team, Wolf and Mayo kept talking about culture during the offseason. There's not many guys that are better for the culture in that locker room than Peppers. He gets it. He says all the right things. He does all the right things. He plays hard no matter what the situation is. And so when you look at his ability to set that tone, that personality, his approach, he's the perfect guy in that locker room with a younger team. He's the perfect mentor. He's fantastic for the culture, no doubt. And on the field, he drops the hammer. He scares opposing offenses. He's the kind of guy that a receiver will think twice going across the middle when Peppers is in that game. That's the kind of guy he is. He's a playmaker, and he's an impact guy. And by the way, $8 million a year on the average annual value, that slots him at about 15 as far as safeties being paid. So he's right around the 15th highest paid safety in the game at $8 million a year. I think that's a very fair deal. He gets his security. The Patriots keep one of their leaders, one of their best players in a bad season a year ago. I love the deal. There's really nothing bad I can say about it. Your thoughts on Drake May, his up and down? camp so far, especially today. 617-779-0985. If you have thoughts on the Jabril Peppers extension, feel free to give us a call as well. 617-779-0985. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray. We'll get to your reaction. Also, another day, another Patriot complains about his contract. That's coming up.
Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox and Yankees underway at Fenway. It's the top of the second. Red Sox are leading 1-0. Tyler O'Neill with a bases-loaded sac fly.
Gallagher and Maz are just his pregame.
They've been getting wholesale deals for years.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
What's up, you two people? How we doing out there on a Friday night? Nice night outside. Hopefully people are enjoying it. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray on this Friday. Devon Godchaux talked about his contract earlier today. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's go to Matt in Rhode Island who wants to talk about Drake May. What's up, Matt?
Hey, what's up, Cals? Yeah, but first, I just want to comment. I love Peppers. I love Duggar. You know, growing up, I was like a Ronnie Lott guy, and those are the closest guys you're going to come. And interestingly, as you put it, I've been wanting Duggar to move up. You know, he does have a little trouble on those play action fakes, and you know, but they're sure enough the defense. Anyway, on Drake May, I really think he seems like a pretty loose kid and a pretty humble kid. It's pretty much the opposite of what you're getting with Mac Jones. You know, he's going to make a lot of mistakes, and I'm concerned about the line in front of him. But I really think he has the intangibles that, you know, like you said, take it slow, but I think he's the opposite of Mac Jones, and that I think is a good thing. Thanks, Kettles.
All right, Matt. Thank you. Appreciate the phone call, bud. He definitely has a swag. I mean, we got to remember, you know, Mac in his first year, his first camp, he was dancing around. He was enjoying life. He was a little loose, right? And then it's like all of a sudden just everything changed. And we don't need to relitigate Mac Jones's career here in New England. We all had to go through it. We all witnessed it. It is what it is at this point. Well, the first year, his rookie season, he had that confidence. He had that air about him. He had McDaniels helping him. And then 2022 was really the beginning of the end when you look back at it. And it was a slow deterioration of the guy who was originally here. He just fell apart. But May, he does have that confidence. There's no doubt about it. And he's much more of a gunslinger than Mac was for sure. And that's because he's more toolsy, as they say, than Mac. Much better arm, better athlete, bigger frame. He's just a different guy. You know, he has the potential, he has the talent to be a top 3 pick in the draft. There is a reason at the end of the day that Mac fell to 15. I mean, if he had those kinds of toolsy, toolsy, what do I want to say? Toolsy skills in his bag, then, you know, he would have been picked higher than 15. He wouldn't have fell down to 15. So there's clearly a difference as far as potential and as far as just pure talent. And the makeup, Drake certainly looks like he's ready to deal with whatever crap he's got to deal with. Now, that might deteriorate, but his first opportunity to deal with a bad play, a terrible pick, he responded. All right, let's get to Devon Godchaux. He was on the field the first day of camp. He was off the field the second day of camp. Here was Gerard Mayo before practice today addressing his absence yesterday.
I think Godchaux participated in day one yesterday. We didn't see him until midway through. Came up from the backfield, didn't seem to do anything. Is that contract related?
No, not at all. Not at all. It has nothing to do with the contract. He had a little bit of tightness, but he's another guy who, you know, you want to reward the players that embody or encompass what we're trying to create here from a cultural perspective. And also, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about wins and losses, and he helps with that.
So a little bit of tightness. Now, when I first heard that, I'm okay. Is he covering up for Godchaux? Is he giving us a line here so there's not more questions as to why he wasn't out there on the field? But no, apparently not, because Godchaux was participating today. He was out there today, ready to go. And he not only was out there participating, he also participated in a post-practice press conference with the media, and here he was on his situation.
I mean, it's frustrating, but I mean, I'm going to give it to my agent. I'm going to let Drew handle it. He's been doing it for a long time. He's got my best interest. I'm just going to roll with him. I'm just going to control what I can control, you know. It's frustrating playing on, you know, out here with no guaranteed money, but I'm going to put it in Drew's hands. You know, he gonna do his best for me.
Frustrating to be out here playing with no guaranteed money. I mean, there it is, point blank, right? Period, end of sentence. We know the issue. He doesn't have the guaranteed money. He wants guaranteed money for this year. Obviously not happy. What about being traded?
I mean, hey, this is business, man. At the end of the day, you know, they can say they want us, but at the end of the day, it's a business. You know, I just saw a lot of teams where they said, yeah, he's our guy, but the next day he's traded. You know, so it's a business, you know. Whatever best for me, you know. If I would love to be here. I would love to retire here. My family loves it here. So, I mean, we'll see. It's football heaven here, you know. The greatest all-time player here. So I would love to be here, but at the end of the day, it's a business. Hopefully we can get something done so I can stay here.
Guys, want to take two more?
Yeah, this is much different than Judon the other day, right? I mean, this is a different tone. This is a different approach. Judon saying, hey, I'll play under the contract I have. I signed the contract. I don't want to necessarily play on this contract, but I'll play on the contract. When Judon was asked about being traded, his reaction was, hell nah, to the media. Godchaux's like, it's a business. If it's good for me, then ship me out. I don't think he has much trade value. Here's Godchaux. Is he optimistic about a deal?
I think so. I would love to retire here. I got a lot more years in me. I'm 29. In this system, I feel like I can play a long time. You know, obviously Vince played a long time. I feel like I can play just as long as him, even longer. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm healthy. I've been available every game my last 3 years here. You know, with my position that I play nose tackle, don't get a lot of recognition. You take up all the blocks, and everybody else get the glorify. Everybody else get the stats. But at the end of the day, it starts at a foundation. And I feel like in this defense, this 3-4 defense, it starts with the nose tackle, especially when you talk about run game. It starts with the nose tackle. I mean, guys like Vince can elaborate off that. But yeah, I just want some respect. But like I said, I trust Drew Rosenhaus. He's going to do what's best for me. And hopefully we get a deal done so we can get going.
So, I mean, he's looking at himself and he's saying to everybody, hey, I am important to this defense. Don't overlook me. I know that I'm not getting to the quarterback. I know I don't make splashy plays, but my importance being in the middle of this defensive line and clogging up the run is critical. Now, the Patriots, they were great against the run last year. And Godchaux is a big part of that, literally and figuratively. He is a big part of that run defense in the middle. But he's also, 30 years old. And I don't think there are a lot of teams out there that are dying, that are salivating to sign somebody like Godchaux. At least I don't think. Here was more from Devon.
Basically, I look at a guy like Grover Stewart. I look at a guy like Dalvin Thompson. I look at a guy like all those guys are run players. The run market has went up too. Not just the pass rush market. Grover Stewart don't play third downs. He come out DeForest Buckner in there. Dalvin Thompson don't play third down. He come out, and all those guys are, those guys are paid, paid in their price range. So I'm not gonna call out a number, but those guys are paid in their price range. I just really want some respect, and I have no doubt that the Patriots and Drew will get a deal done. I have no doubt in it, and I'm not, it's a business. I'm not gonna be sad. I'm not gonna be angry. It's business. Still love him, but and you just gotta do what's best for me.
Now Stewart signed a 3-year, $39 million deal, so that's $13 million a year on the AAV. Tomlinson signed a 4-year, $57 million deal. So we're talking, Godchaux's looking at guys that have signed deals recently, and he's making the case that he should be paid $13 to $14 million a year. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Patriots are going to pay him $14 million a year. I don't think that will be the case. Could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last. But I think it's more likely that Judon would get some kind of extension before Godchaux got the extension or even his money guaranteed, because Judon, as we know, he's an edge. And as important as interior defensive linemen are, and they are, but the guys that are most important on the interior of that defensive line are guys that can get to the quarterback, the Christian Barmores of the world, which is why the Patriots upped the cash and gave him that contract extension, because they know that Barmore can single-handedly ruin a football game. The run-stuffing nose tackle guys, the big guys in the middle, you don't have a bunch of those guys making money. They're not the Aaron Donalds. They're not the Chris Joneses. They're not the hopefully, fingers crossed, Christian Barmores, if he can ever get to, anywhere near the Chris Jones level. Those guys impact the pass game and the run game. And that's why Godchaux, he mentioned it. Yeah, I know I don't play on third down. Those other guys don't play on third down. It's just, how much money have you devoted to the defense already? And do you really feel like he's that much of an impact player that you're going to pay him $13, $14 million a year like he's looking for? 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray. Scaz behind the glass on the ones and twos. An introductory press conference gone wrong. The embarrassing audio next.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
Working on a Friday night. Joe isn't working on a Friday night. It's Nick Cattles instead with you up until 11 o'clock. Scaz working hard behind the glass. You can follow me on Twitter at Nick C Radio. Again, it's at Nick C Radio. So I know college football is not a hugely popular thing here in the Northeast. You know, you get down south, you get the college football hotbeds, right? But I still think you all like to be entertained. And so it was Big Ten Media Day earlier this week. And head coach of UCLA, new head coach, taking over for Chip Kelly is Deshaun Foster. Yes, that's former NFL running back Deshaun Foster. UCLA is now in the Big Ten, which is just weird. But they're having their media day. And so you walk up to the microphone, and you're supposed to have this, like, opening statement about your team, your program, you as a coach, what you're looking forward to. Here was Foster's opening statement.
Coach Foster, welcome to the Big Ten. We'll begin with your opening statement.
How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here. Glad to be a part of this great conference.
He sound excited to you?
Sounds thrilled.
Can you just feel the excitement from Coach Foster? How you doing? Happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Glad to be a part of this great conference.
I'm so glad to be a part of this great conference. Can't you just tell I'm so glad that it's just look how I'm beaming everybody. Look. I am just a fluorescent light bulb up here on stage. I'm so pumped and bright about this Big Ten and being a head coach of UCLA. You think he would maybe bring a little bit of excitement, but trust me, folks, it gets much worse.
Finally putting two great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten.
Wrong word.
We're a school that's won, 123 championships, so this fits us being right in this conference. Football-wise, we're just excited.
Oh,
I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in L.A.
Wait, UCLA is in L.A.? Is that what he said?
We're in L.A.
Oh, all right. We're super excited. If you don't know much about us, we're a college.
We're in L.A.
We're in L.A. We're a college in L.A. We happen to play football. Just in case you didn't know. Again, it gets worse.
We're in L.A.
Uh-oh.
It's us and USC.
Is he just going to start naming colleges in California? Is that the plan? It's us and USC?
It's us and USC.
Yep. They're close to us, somewhat in proximity, if you don't know that.
We're in L.A.
By the way, USC is the University of Southern California, just in case you guys didn't know that. They also play football. They're as excited as I am. I'm sure of it. He's just saying, like, obvious things. We're at college. We're in L.A. USC, somewhat close by. We're in the Big Ten now. We got a lot of championships, stuff like that, cool things. I'm super excited, pumped and jacked. I mean, he's trying to send like an excited message like Pete Carroll, but he's absolutely not presenting like Pete Carroll. It's brutal.
It's us and USC.
Okay, got that.
We
Deshaun.
I'm just basically excited, really. That's it. Any questions?
Brutal.
Any questions?
Yeah. You didn't write anything down? Did you think about this before you went up there? Was there any conversation, any thought? You knew you were doing this, right? Like, you knew you had to go up there in front of people and present the program. Did you know that, Deshaun? Were you blindsided by this?
My favorite reaction to this is that their week 1 betting line has already changed. People are betting so much on Hawaii that the line has changed in the game.
I hope he's better one-on-one with recruits. Imagine him walking into the living room. Hey, so you're a running back. We're a football program.
We're in LA.
Sell me on the program, Deshaun.
We're in LA.
Okay. Yeah, but what else? Is there anything else that you can give me?
It's us and USC.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the list?
I'm just basically excited, really.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Well, I guess I got to be excited too. Sure. What's the NIL money? Oh, my God. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Yeah, I watched your film. I was excited. There's some really good stuff. How about you come join the program? Yeah. Nervous laughter or embarrassment laughter? Both?
I think that's a hybrid right there. I
Yeah.
think you're getting a mix of both.
He's like, he knows. It's like, oh, my God, this is awful.
I just don't get, no one's asking you to do 5 minutes. Just have 30 seconds. Anything.
You don't even have to say anything of substance. If you just, walk up there on the stage, you're like, hey, everybody. Deshaun Foster, new head coach of UCLA. Super excited to be out here. Part of the Big Ten. Can't wait to get the season rolling. What do you guys got? Anything. He went up there like he was completely clueless this was going to happen.
We're in LA.
I mean, yikes. That was rough. Deshaun. All right, it's another tough day for the Patriots offense at camp. Should we be concerned? My thoughts in 90 seconds.
From the Townware Tire Studios, the only place to hear the local call of the game is right WBC-FM at HD Boston. Boston's home for sports. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
I'm contemplating if I should do this entire headline as Deshaun Foster. Red Sox Yankees, Fenway, bottom of the third. Red Sox lead 2-1. Rafael Devers RBI double gave him the lead. Earlier today, the Sox announced that they've acquired James Paxton from the Dodgers in exchange for minor league infielder Moises Bolivar. Paxton has a 4.43 ERA this season. Busy day in baseball. Mariners acquired Randy Arozarena from the Rays and Toronto right-handed reliever Yimi Garcia. The Phillies dealt right-hander Sir Anthony Dominguez, great name, Sir Anthony, and Christian Pache to the O's for Austin Hayes. The O's also acquired right-hander Zach Eflin from Tampa. To the NFL, Patriots agreed to a 3-year extension with Jabril Peppers. That deal is worth $24 million on the base. Up to $30 million is the total worth. Other NFL news. Tua Tagovailoa agrees to a 4-year, $212.4 million contract. $167 million of that is guaranteed. Meanwhile, weird thing going on with Lamar Jackson. He remains sidelined with an illness. The Ravens announced he will continue to undergo further evaluation and receive care from their medical team. Finally, former NBA MVP Russell Westbrook signing a 2-year, $6.8 million contract with the Denver Nuggets. Headlines are brought to you by Eastern Massachusetts leader in drain cleaning and pipelining, Drains by James. Slow drain, clogged drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm Nick Cattles on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next update, 8:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Score to the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hour number 2 on a Friday. Friday night. All right. Nick Cattle's with you, in for Joe Murray. Sorry to disappoint if you were looking forward to Joe. But it's a summertime, so he's all over the place. All over the joint. Literally and figuratively. You two people, how we doing out there? Glad you could join us as well. Hopefully, not screaming at each other in the chat or screaming at Scaz. Fortunately, we don't have an intern tonight to screw everything up, so Quinnipiac Kevin is probably half in the bag already at 8:05 on a Friday. If he's doing it right, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So we started the show talking about Drake May, and now I want to look at the offense overall at camp. Yesterday, my buddy Greg Bedard called the offense horrendous. Love that word. The offense was horrendous. Today, what it looked like. Evan Lazar, Patriots.com, posted up and down day for the offense, some ugly stretches, particularly struggled with blocking bootlegs, and some late throws by both Brissett and May. Bedard, he posted, little better from the offense, but not by much. Some of it was ugly again. So the offense, up and down. Up and down, up and down. And I understand. Let me just say this first. I understand that many people out there, including myself, I'm sure Scaz is dealing with this too. It is PTSD from the offense that we've witnessed the last 2 years. Our eyes legitimately bleeding watching this offense in 2022 and 2023. We thought it was going to get better last year, didn't we? Bill O'Brien, even though Joe Murray called him suspect, we thought, hey, he's got to be better than Matt Patricia. This offense has to look better than it did in 2022. And then we got, that's what we got. A whole lot of, it was awful. Wasn't fun watching. Was not fun watching. And so we're going to go through this time, I think, when everything we look at is through that prism of 22 and 23. And whenever there's a struggle, especially if it's a mighty struggle, there's going to be that nervousness. You're going to feel it in the pit of your stomach. You're going to start worrying about, oh, man, here we go again. I'm going to waste my Sundays watching this team suck, not move the ball. This is going to be brutal. I don't want any part of this. I understand. But I'm here to tell you, don't panic. At least not yet. Scaz, don't panic. I know you have this team winning one game. Don't panic. Not yet, my friend. Don't start, punching the red alert button. Don't do it. Not yet. We're not at DEFCON 1. Trust me. We have to understand. It's day 3 of camp. Day 3. We know really nothing about this football team right now. Other than we feel pretty good about the defense because they're bringing everybody back. They've got that continuity. We feel pretty confident that the defense is not going to be puking on their cleats on Sundays. That's at least the hope. Other than that, there's a lot we don't know. It's day 3. They're not putting pads on until Monday. So the first thing I would say is, let's wait until the pads come on and see how guys respond to that. It's only the 3rd day of camp. No pads. You're not really running the football. And when you think about Alex Van Pelt, you think about West Coast offense, you think about the branches of the West Coast offense, a lot of running the football. Look at the numbers from Cleveland last year. They run the football a lot. And Van Pelt has said as much. And I know that caused Felger to freak out. What else is new? But he was, all worked up when Van Pelt talked about running the football, God forbid, as if teams don't run the football anymore. The 49ers, they've won a lot of games over the past couple of years, haven't they? They don't throw the ball much at all. San Francisco throws the football in the bottom 5 of the league in pass rate. Ever since they acquired Christian McCaffrey, they have given the rock to Run CMC over and over and over and over again. I digress. Shanahan's offense, San Francisco, again, another branch, right, of that West Coast offense. So you're not even seeing Stevenson out there getting, yards after the contact and the offensive line trying to push guys around, trying to establish that run, which will open up some of this play action and some of the bootleg action, the misdirection that they want to run. So until they start to earnestly run the football, we don't know what this offense is going to look like in totality. And even though we talk about it, Scaz has talked about it, I'm sure. Joe's talked about it. Everybody on this radio station and other radio stations, we've all talked about it. There's a lot of new. And I still think that's underappreciated for some reason. There's a lot of new going on the offensive side. You are completely changing your scheme. You're going from the Earhart-Perkins offense, the offense that we've seen for 20-plus years here in New England, and you're going to this more West Coast-based offense. Right? It's a completely different scheme, different verbiage, different pretty much everything. So you've got a new scheme. You have a new staff across the board. New offensive coordinator, new quarterbacks coach, new offensive line coaches, new wide receivers coach, new coach. All sorts of new staffing on the offensive side of the ball. You have not one but two, actually three, new quarterbacks when you count Joe Milton, who's been getting more snaps than Bailey Zappi at practice. So you've got three new quarterbacks. You've got new skill position players. Jalen Polk, rookie. Javon Baker, rookie. KJ Osborne, signed in the offseason. Jaheim Bell, rookie. I mean, you have so many new players. Offensive line. Chooks wasn't here last year. Caden Wallace when he's out there. Nick Leverett when he's out there. So you have new offensive linemen that are shuffling around. Oh, and by the way, you also don't have your two most dependable receivers practicing right now. Pop Douglas has not been practicing. He has a hand issue. We all know Kendrick Bourne on the PUP coming off the ACL. Who knows when Bourne's going to be ready? I mean, when you start to look at all of this, are you surprised at all? I'm not concerned. I'm not panicked. Not yet. If we're talking about this kind of stuff, a week and a half, 2 weeks from now, then yeah. Then we start to get concerned. Then there's some worry. But 3 days in, I expected this. I expected the offense to be up and down. I expected brutal stretches. When you turn over an entire offense, for all intents and purposes, it's not going to be easy. And it's especially not easy when you're going against a defense that has the continuity that I mentioned a few moments ago. Everything I just talked about with this offense, the amount of change. The defense is the antithesis of that. The defense is continuity. They brought almost everybody back. Oh, Mac Wilson's not back. Lawrence Guy's not back. Okay. Everybody else is pretty much back. The coaching staff is back. Pellegrino, Brian Belichick, Covington. Mayo, the head coach, obviously had a huge role with this defense the last few years. You're talking about a top 10 defense in DVOA that did not have Matthew Judon, did not have Christian Gonzalez for the majority of the year. Those two guys are back on the field playing. Oh, and so is Marcus Jones, who by all reports has been pretty damn good early on in camp. So you've got all of this new with the offense. You've got a rookie quarterback that is taking a number of snaps early in this camp. You got two rookie wide receivers, a rookie tight end. Your second running back in Antonio Gibson, he's not been on the field yet. Pop's not been on the field yet. Bourne obviously is not close to being on the field just yet. And you're going against a really good defense that knows each other like the back of their freaking hands. Give it time. Am I telling you this offense is going to be great? No, I'm not. If I was telling you that, I'd be one big fat liar sitting here in the studio. But what I am telling you is we're not going to understand the ceiling of this offense, the potential of this offense. We're not going to know what this offense is until probably a couple of weeks down the road. We want to see progress. We don't want them to suck every practice, obviously. But I preach patience. I'm preaching patience about Drake May, and I'm preaching patience about this offense. I'm not going to lose my mind just yet because I anticipated some of this ugliness. We should have all seen this coming. But if we're talking about this amount of ugliness offensively in a week and a half, 2 weeks, then I'd be starting to sound some alarms. If it's this ugly in a week, I might start getting a little nervous. But I'm not there yet. Are you? Are you already freaking out about this offense? Do you think this offense is just atrocious? No chance. No chance for this offense to do much of anything. I'm going to stay open-minded, at least longer than 3 days into camp. 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. Your thoughts on this offense, 617-779-0985. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray on this Friday night. We'll get to your reaction. Also, the Patriots continue the O-line shuffle at camp. That's next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Beastie Boys. Scaz, you in or out on the Beastie Boys?
A little before my time, but I can appreciate them.
I mean, I didn't need the ageism. I mean, you just went right to, hey, you're pretty old, huh, Nick? You older than me? Ha, ha,
Slightly
ha.
before my time.
I mean, you could just say you like them. I love Led Zeppelin. They were well before my time. A little bit harsh from you on a Friday night.
You'd be shocked to hear that intern Kevin said his favorite band was Queen last night.
Stop it.
He surprised us all.
Queen?
A man of culture, I guess.
I would have never guessed. But I mean, look, I've loved Led Zeppelin since I was 8 years old, so. Maybe Kevin's parents know what they're doing when it comes to music. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Of course, that's Scaz on the other side of the glass, helping out the program tonight. A lot of sound. I asked Scaz to pull a lot of sound today. Very demanding. That's why he took a shot at my age. He's like, oh, yeah, Cattles, you want all these sound bites? Yeah, Beastie Boys. Before my time there, Papa. Suck on that. All right. That's how it's going to be tonight. We got 2.5 hours left with this puppy.
Oh, we're ready to roll.
Scaz, you want to go? We'll go.
Hey, sound, no issue at all. I got no problem. That's my job. That's what I'm here for. You want sound, I'll get you sound.
Scaz, how you feeling about this offensive line right now?
Not good. Not good. About as good as Deshaun Foster's press conference there.
Let's talk about this O-line. So, in the offseason, right, when Elliott Wolf signed Mike Onwenu to his contract extension, the idea was that Mike Onwenu was going to be a right tackle. And people might sit there and say, what are you talking about, Nick? Are you reading too much into what they're saying? No, I'm not reading too much into what they're saying. I'm telling you exactly what they said. Elliott Wolf, just a few weeks ago, said that the Patriots had signed the best right tackle that was on the market, or best tackle on the market. He was talking about Onwenu, not Okorafor. And Okorafor, as we know, he's playing the left side. Well, he didn't today. More on that in a minute. Onwenu, even himself, when he was talking to the media, he said he was going to devote his offseason training to playing right tackle. That was the plan, folks. They told us the plan. Now Onwenu can't touch right tackle. He's been playing guard all 3 days at training camp. And I'm not telling you that's a bad thing. Onwenu's a really good guard. Really good. But that wasn't the plan. Then they drafted Caden Wallace. They said they were going to play him on the left side, or at least try to transition him to the left side. He played almost exclusively during minicamp at right tackle. The first couple days of training camp, he played right tackle. Or at least, yeah, he was playing right tackle, not starting in the right tackle spot, but he was part of the rotation. And speaking of that rotation, day one, Calvin Anderson was your right tackle. Day two, Verdarian Lowe was your starting right tackle. Day three, guess what? One of the only guys that we thought we could pretty much bank on having a spot on this O-line is Chooks. Well, Chooks moved from the left tackle spot to the right tackle spot today. Wallace was in the left tackle spot. So there's a lot of mixing and matching, folks. There's a lot of juggling from Scott Peters and Robert Kugler. And here was Okorafor yesterday describing the approach with the O-line.
Our coaches said, every day will be a different line. So, we don't really know who's going to be the guy yet. Obviously, with Dave and Mike, we obviously know about them. But, I think apart from that, everything else is open.
Everything else is open. Except for Dave and Mike. Talking about David Andrews and Mike Onwenu. So, I mean, we could say right now, the Mike Onwenu at right tackle idea seems to be dead. I don't know if I would say it was DOA, but it was pretty damn close to being DOA. As much as they try to sell us on the idea. Onwenu doesn't seem to be touching tackle. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. So, that idea, gonzo. And I want to know, is this going to continue next week with the Pats? Is this going to be the approach? Is it going to be mixing and matching for another week or two? Or was this a situation where they just wanted to see what they had up front without the pads on, and then when they get to Monday, when they put the pads on, they're going to stick with at least 4 of the 5 and maybe rotate at right tackle? Like, here's my question to Peters and Kugler and Gerard Mayo. All of this shuffling that we've seen through the first 3 days of camp, and if we see it again on Sunday, is that shuffling, is it philosophical, or are you doing it out of necessity? That's the key question. Like, is this just a philosophical way early in camp to handle the offensive line? I don't know why it would be that way, but maybe Scott Peters, we've heard he's somewhat of an outside-the-box coach. Maybe he thinks he gets more out of guys by mixing and matching early in camp. So is this a philosophical approach by the coaching staff, or is this out of necessity? Now, the one thing I would say, they have been shuffling guys in other spots as well. They've been shuffling around the cornerbacks, shuffling around defensive backs. So we have seen that in other spots. But the offensive line, the first 3 days, outside of Andrews at center and Owenu at right guard, and really you could add Sidy Sow. Sidy Sow hasn't moved from the left guard spot since minicamp. So it seems like 3 out of the 5 they're pretty comfortable with. But I don't know if we can tell you who's going to play tackle week 1. I mean, it feels like it's going to be a core of 4 on, I don't know on what side, but it feels like a core of 4 is going to be out there as one of the starting tackles. It feels that way. Not a guarantee, far from it. But this thing's in flux right now. And obviously, after what we've seen through last year, the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season was literally ruined by the offensive line. The O-line gave this team no chance to win football games in the first month and a half last year. After seeing that, I mentioned the offensive PTSD last segment. We all have offensive line PTSD. We all have the offensive line trauma from watching those guys last year. And Bill Belichick, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to acquire tackles during camp and trading for a guy like Vidarian Lowe and trading for Tyrone Wheatley Jr. So we all remember what happened last year. And you can't help but look at the first 3 days of camp as they shuffle guys in and out and say, are we going down that road again? Because it's unfair to the quarterbacks. You want to mix and match up front. You're not getting consistent play from your O-line. That is unfair to Jacoby Brissett, May, Zappi, and Milton. It's unfair to all of the quarterbacks out there. Because they've got to be concerned about a 5-alarm fire at any minute. And they don't know who's playing where. I mean, I'm sure the coaches give them some kind of an idea. But the amount of shuffling going on up front, I'm sure it does not necessarily settle the quarterback. I wouldn't be settled. It's like, okay, who's my left tackle today? So you wake up and you pick a name out of a hat. So we'll see if this is philosophical. We'll see if by Monday they have kind of settled on a top 5 and they go from there. If we see more of this next week, my concern meter bumps up a couple notches. I won't be panicking just yet, but the concern meter will start rising at least a couple of notches. If we start to see left tackle become right tackle become left tackle, Owenu gets a shot at tackle, they call Scaz in, Scaz is playing right guard, Owenu gets moved to right tackle, Joe Murray playing left tackle next week. If we've got all this stuff going on and it's still a big pot of jambalaya by like next Wednesday, yeah, the concern meter is going to get boosted a little bit. Because the earlier you can pick your top 5 and get them out there and build continuity and build chemistry, the better. So I'm not there yet. but I'm not far away from getting antsy about this offensive line. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985, 617-779-0985. You can follow me on Twitter at NickCRadio. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray on a Friday. Scaz behind the glass helping us out tonight. I'll get to your reaction. Also, what does Jason Tatum regret about his early C's career? Find out next.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox Yankees at Fenway tonight, bottom of the fifth. The Red Sox have had a couple of leads in this game, but the Yankees have come back a couple of times on Brian Bayo. It is 3-3 in the bottom.
Round here, we call them the Joe Murray pre-party. It's Elgar and Maz, afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
All right, let's switch gears for a couple minutes here. Let's talk some Celtics. Let's talk some Jason Tatum, shall we? Tatum had a great interview with Chris Mannix of SI. I'm sure many of you saw the SI cover with Tatum. I think he's got a glass of champagne in his hand. It was great stuff. And one of the more fascinating answers that Tatum gave, and I would say the most fascinating answer, had to do with Jaylen Brown and the relationship and all the talks about Brown possibly getting traded. Tatum said to Mannix, quote, "I've always told him that maybe I could have done a better job of voicing my feelings in the public eye. He always knew that I wanted him here. I would always tell him, like, man, I don't get involved with any of those talks. I never went to Brad or went to any player like, yo, I want this guy in, I want this guy out of here. I show up, and I want to do my job and play basketball. And looking back on those moments, I didn't know how that could affect somebody because I was never in that situation. I feel like maybe I could have done a better job of publicly saying, no, we don't want anybody. We want JB. I just was always like, I want to stay out of it," unquote. And I read that, and the first thing I thought was like, that's refreshing honesty from Tatum, right? I mean, he's admitting, yeah, I should have stood up for my guy more. I should have said more. And I wasn't really thinking about how things impacted other guys, right? I didn't really think about how this impacted Jaylen Brown. Just kind of just looking at it from my point of view. So, refreshing honesty from Tatum. The second thing I thought of was Tatum answering questions about Jaylen Brown not making Team USA and how that became a big deal. And some people thought it was a huge deal. Let's bring you back to Vegas a couple weeks ago when Tatum spoke with the media about JB not being selected for Team USA.
Talk about having Jaylen here?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys that could, take that last spot or whatever. Yeah, it is.
Now, I didn't have much of an issue with it because Jason Tatum said not once but twice that it was weird and it kind of sucked that Jaylen Brown was not on the team. He said it at the very beginning when he was asked. He said, yeah, it does. And then he went into, there are a lot of other guys that can make the blah, 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 blah. And then he finished with, yeah, it does. But it is interesting, right? Because if you're going to make the argument that Tatum should have said more, he should have been more demonstrative with the media regarding Jaylen Brown's absence from Team USA. Well, using this quote would be very effective for the Chris Gaspers of the world, right? My guy, Chris, he's one of those people that criticize Tatum for not being demonstrative enough. And I'm sure when Chris read this quote from Tatum, he said, do you see? And why? Why did Tatum not learn a lesson and actually follow his own advice that he gave to Chris Mannix and SI? This interview was done before Tatum spoke with the media in Vegas. That is for a fact because Tatum did not get his hair cut yet. This interview, Tatum still had the kind of poofy hair look. So why? And then I was watching NBC Sports Boston last night. I thought Michael Holley made a fantastic point. And he said, this isn't Tatum's team. Tatum's making the point that with the Celtics, it's his team. It's his position on that team to stand up and to go to Brad Stevens, to go to ownership, because Tatum is the Celtics. Celtics is Tatum, right? And so the idea is that Tatum, in that situation with the Celtics, should have stepped up and said, I don't want my team messed with. This is Team USA. It's a different world. And I thought that was a smart take from Holly. I would also say, let's not forget about Nike, the Nike business, and let's also not forget who replaced Kawhi Leonard. It was Derek White. And I do wonder if it was somebody else other than White who replaced Kawhi, and it wasn't JB. Let's say both JB and Derek White were left off the team, and they went out and they replaced Kawhi with another American player. Maybe Tatum would have been a little more demonstrative. But maybe he felt weird because it was his other teammate who was replacing Kawhi Leonard. It was a very difficult position for Tatum to be in because of his relationship with Nike, with the Jordan brand, and because it was Derek White who was replacing Kawhi. And if Tatum came out and was demonstrative about Brown not being on the team, he's indirectly taking a shot at Derek White, which is what Brown did pretty much with his post on Twitter, right? Getting upset at Nike and taking the shine away from White's moment and really making it about him and not Derek White. Tatum would have done the same damn thing if he came out strong and said Jaylen Brown should be on this team. It should have been Brown who got that spot. And Derek would be like, wait a minute. Well, what about me? Tatum had some other things to say. On Jaylen's finals MVP, Mannix writes, Tatum recalls a stretch during the 2019-2020 season when both knew they were battling for one all-star spot. Tatum got it. Quote, and I knew he was happy for me. But when you are a competitor, you want what's in front of you. Similarly, Tatum wanted finals MVP this year. But to see Brown get recognized, Tatum says, quote, made me genuinely happy, unquote. He continued to say, I feel like he has gotten the short end of the stick, whether it's the All-Star selections or All-NBA. I feel like he, in a sense, made up for some of those shortcomings that people didn't vote him for. I was happy that he got it. And so, Tatum admits, yeah, I wanted finals MVP. Of course I wanted finals MVP. People remember the finals MVP. Now, I think people will remember Tatum, finals MVP or not. But I read that, and I wondered, would all superstars notice or care? Like, would all superstars, all top, if you're a top 5 player in the NBA, I mean, Tatum right now is a top 5 to 7 guy in the league, right? Not much difference between 5 and 7. He's right there in the conversation. All NBA first team, 3 years in a row. How many of those guys would understand and notice Jaylen Brown not getting the adulation and the credit for certain things that he does? And I think that goes to Tatum's nature. Tatum's a pretty selfless guy. He's not about drama. He's not all about himself at all times. He seemingly understands when he makes a mistake and does make it about himself in the very rare occasions. And while he's getting all of this love, and he's on the video game, he's winning this, he's winning that, he's all NBA first team consecutive years, and he's doing all of this, he understands that Jaylen Brown wants some of that love too, and he's not getting it. And he's not getting it because he's on the same team as Tatum. And I wonder, will Brown be okay if that continues to happen? Will the Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP be enough for Jaylen? Or if it continues where he gets overlooked for All-NBA, does he start to get impatient with that? Does he start to get frustrated to the point where he's like, you know what? I just got to go somewhere else and prove to the world that I'm damn good as a 1. Right now, I'm not worried about it coming off a championship and running it back next year, but it is something to think about. Tatum said on his relationship with Brown, we figured out that we need each other. We have learned how to coexist, and we know we need to be the best version of ourselves in order for all of this to work. We weren't necessarily the best playmakers early in our careers, but we developed into guys that really bleed the game. We want to be a great example of guys that play on both ends of the floor and guys who are the best teammates that we can be. And you have to wonder how many duos in this day and age with social media, all the talk, the 24/7 news cycle, how many duos would stay together? Think about some of the duos that couldn't stay together for more than 5 years. Think about Kyrie and KD and how fast that went up in flames. Think about Kyrie and LeBron. Wait a minute. There's a common denominator there. But think about how many superstar duos would have lasted 7 years together to get to the point where they got to this past year. I don't think a lot of guys would have. And that speaks volumes for both Brown and Tatum and how they approach things and how they talk to each other and how they understand each other. They might not be best friends. They might not be going to Cancun together in the offseason, but they get it. And my hope, is that they will continue to get it and they will want to chase some of these, duo records versus individual records. But that's a lot to ask from two superstars. And, the longer this goes, I think the more special it is. Especially what these guys go through nowadays and what these women go through nowadays with the nonstop debate show stuff. So I thought it was a very interesting, revealing interview with Jason Tatum, done by Chris Mannix. Great job by Mannix. 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray on this Friday night. In or Out with Scaz is coming up.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
You're listening. on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is
runs and getting up in this game. They're up 4-3 right now, but the Yankees have second and third with one out. And it's like Bayo could not give them 6. Just couldn't do it. It's like every night. 5. 5's the limit. And when you don't have a back end of the bullpen with Slayton and Martin, I mean, geez, it's rough. All right, in or out with Scaz. What do you got?
All right, Nick, a Friday night edition of In or Out. We're going to be a little all over the map here. Why not? We'll start with some food. Why not? An interesting Oreo I saw today. It feels like every week we're getting a new Oreo flavor. So, Nick, are you in or out on mint chocolate chip Oreos?
Oh, I'm really in on this. I'm so in on this. I love mint. Love mint. Go to a bar, my favorite shot is like McGillicuddy's. One of my favorite shots is Dr. McGillicuddy's. Mint. I know they got root beer and other stuff. Give me straight up old school mint. McGillicuddy's. I like the Andes candies. Love them things. So I'd be all in on this. I want a pack of them right now that you brought it up. Are you in or out on that? I couldn't be more in.
I believe you said you're a big ice cream guy in the past. I am a big ice cream guy as well, although I have to eat dairy-free ice cream for the most part, which isn't great. But yeah, mint chocolate chip ice cream, one of my favorites. So yeah, I'm in on this.
Oh, I love it. I love mint. You know, you go to the dentist and they clean your teeth, and sometimes they use that stuff that's like minty or whatever. It's more like baking soda, but I don't know. It's a little minty. I love that too. They're like, do you like? I'm like, yeah. Come on. I'm not afraid. I'm ready to go. Yeah, in on that.
All right, Nick, this is something that it seems to be happening more and more often, but Shaun of the Dead, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but a relatively funny movie, but it's the 15-year anniversary, I believe, so it's being re-released in theaters. Are you in or out just in general on movies being re-released in theaters?
I'm not. I'd say out. I mean, it's the same movie. I know it's like, different, the color is better and the picture is better and it's... But just, I like the old classic stuff, right? You don't always have to try to go bigger and better. You don't always have to, like, re-release something with the music and the sound quality and the audio and the video being that much better. Some things are just better left alone. Just leave them in the past. Enjoy them at home. You don't have to You know what it is? It's just an excuse to make money off the movie again.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's a scam. So I'm out on that scam.
All right, we got news today that Netflix and the NBA are working on a bubble documentary focused on, obviously, the COVID season where teams were stuck inside the bubble. So, Nick, are you in or out on a bubble documentary?
Out. I mean, how many times are we going to see guys like in elevators talking to each other, hanging out in their hotel rooms?
There's nothing going on.
No, there were all these stories. Great job by Winkowski. Second and third, one out, and he got out of it. That's a fantastic job. There were all these stories about how boring it was. How people would walk around like the same pond or whatever all the time because there's nothing to do. Yeah, I have no interest in watching bored people be bored. No. Out.
I'm with you on that one. And this is another topic that I think may have started on the middays, maybe a Tom Morgan take, but we discussed it a little bit last night.
Oh, boy, a Tom Morgan take.
Yeah, you're always in trouble there. But Tom Morgan believes that the 4th of July is the end of summer. I wouldn't go that far, but me and Joe were discussing it last night that the start of Patriots training camp is kind of the end of summer.
Nope.
Summer is over. So, Nick.
Nope.
You are out on summer is over.
I'm out on the idea that summer ends in July. Out. My birthday's in August. I'm so out on that. You have a whole month and a half left.
Hey, I'm with you. I've been putting up this fight. I think.
Why would you write off summer so early? Why don't we want more summer, not less?
Give me third week of September maybe.
Yeah. That's what, Scaz, you and I. That's what we're gonna say. Arbitrarily pick a date. Let's see. September calendar 2024. Jeez. literally Googled September, the song by Earth, Wind, and Fire. So, calendar 2024. All right, let's pick a day. Summer ends on September 25th this year.
I'm in.
It's a Wednesday. Random Wednesday.
Sounds good.
September 25th is now the official end of summer, according to Scaz and I. Now, I want all the summer I can get. I mean, I'm working through a lot of this summer for Joe himself. He wants the summer to end earlier? That makes no sense. He's reaping the rewards. He's reaping the benefits.
We got that new schedule update. Saw that Patriots game a week from next Thursday. That's creeping up on us.
Summer's not over. Grasp onto it, man, with all of your might. All right, there's In or Out with Scaz today on this Friday. I can't get over the mint chip Oreo thing. Can ask my wife to go grab a pack of those at some point here. In 90 seconds, what should we consider a successful Patriots season?
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, Celtics, the Patriots, the Bruins, and the Revolution play here. WBC-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox Yankees underway at Fenway. They're in the bottom of the 6th. Red Sox lead 4-3. Jarren Duran up, no outs, nobody on. Earlier today, Sox announced they've acquired James Paxton from the Dodgers in exchange for minor league infielder Moises Bolivar. Paxton has a 4.43 ERA this season. It was a pretty darn busy day in baseball today. Mariners acquired Rays outfielder Randy Arozarena and Toronto right-handed reliever Yimi Garcia. Phillies, they deal Sir Anthony Dominguez and Christian Pache to the Orioles for outfielder Austin Hayes. The Orioles also acquired right-handed pitcher Zach Eflin from Tampa. For the NFL, Patriots agreed to a 3-year contract extension with Jabril Peppers. The deal is worth $24 million on the base. It's all about the base. And up to $30 million in total. Other NFL news. Scaz's boy Tua Tagovailoa gets a 4-year, $212 million contract extension. $167 million of that is guaranteed. Meanwhile, Lamar Jackson remains sidelined with an illness. The Ravens announced that he will continue to undergo further evaluation and receive care from their medical team. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Nick Cattles on Boston's Home for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update's at 9:30.
Here we go. Boom. I win. A boom. Yeah. Get somebody.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Just talked about Tua Tagovailoa getting his contract extension. Well, we have a new highest-paid quarterback in NFL history because Jordan Love just got his contract extension from the Green Bay Packers. Ian Rappaport, really this was reported by Pretty Ricky on Twitter. Pretty Ricky beat everybody to the punch on this. But Jordan Love, it's a 4-year contract extension worth $220 million. Makes him the highest-paid quarterback in NFL history despite starting one full season. And this just reminds you, like, the Patriots, they kind of got lucky that Mac was so bad last year. Mac could have made it very tough on them. Like, if Mac was good, he didn't even have to be great. If Mac was good, they would have been stuck in that situation of what the hell do we do with this guy? Do we trade him? Do we keep him? If we keep him, we got to extend him. He would be looking at the quarterback market saying, yeah, I want like $45 million a year. And if the Patriots, again, if he was good and they ended up paying him that kind of money and then he deteriorated and fell apart, my goodness, that would have been truly horrific for the Patriots. So I think you all should actually thank Mac Jones for playing so bad last year because he made the decision easy.
My biggest takeaway from this is you better be 100% sure on Drake May when the time comes, because this is $55 million a year, $60 million a year we're talking about. And, I mean, Jordan Love is fine. I'd take him over Tua, I guess, but that is a lot of money.
Also, think about it this way. This is why it's tough to sit the quarterback for as long as Love sat. And, it was like the gift and the curse somewhat kind of deal where like you had to sit him because he wasn't ready. And so that's why, before the draft happened, you had very smart people, I think like Dan Orlovsky, who was, saying, oh, if you draft May, you got to sit him for a year, if not 2 years. You're only going to get, 3 years out of him then? You're gonna pick him third? And then you've got to make this decision quickly? I mean, Jordan Love, he signed an interesting contract, his 5th year, right? Like, they worked on a deal where they kind of met in the middle and he got a 2-year deal versus just, taking his 5th-year option. They kind of worked around it. It was a very outside-the-box deal by Brian Gutekunst, the GM out there in Green Bay. So they had to work that contract first and foremost because they knew they were starting the guy that never started before, so far into his career. And now you were stuck with the decision of, well, what do we do? And, they just gave him $220 million. Diana Rossini says $155 million of that is guaranteed, which is interesting. It's less guaranteed money than Tua got. But, this is the issue when you look at the quarterback position. If you sit a guy for, 2 years, 3 years, you got to make huge financial decisions with that guy. And you don't want to force yourself to do that earlier than you want to. So it puts pressure on teams to throw their young quarterbacks out there sooner rather than later so you can have more time to evaluate the guy so you feel better about dumping over $200 million into his pocket.
Yeah, my other takeaway from this is, boy, does that Patrick Mahomes contract look really good right now.
Yeah.
That guy, I mean, he might be getting more money soon, too, just looking around the league like, hey, guys, I did you a favor, but this is getting out of control.
Mahomes could have put him over a barrel, and he didn't. He didn't put him over a barrel. He could have really put Kansas City in a tough position. So, props to him because he didn't make it hard. All right, let's get to the Patriots. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray on this Friday night. That's Scaz, of course. You all know him by this point. 4 wins last year. We all know, brutal season. And the old saying is there's only one way to go, right? There's only one way to go, and that's up, hopefully. Scaz doesn't think so. Scaz thinks it's quite possible, if not probable, this team wins less games than they won last year. I ask you this. What would you deem a successful season? 617-779-0985. What would you consider a successful season? I don't think any of us are looking at like, a playoff team. Then it would be a successful season. I would say that's a hugely successful season, exceeding all the expectations. What would you deem a successful season? 617-779-0985. Gerard Mayo answered that question earlier this week.
Yeah, successful season, in my eyes, is really about the foundation. Like, have we put together a good foundation of a combination of young and older players to really start, competing? And honestly, it would be great to get up here and say, like, we're going to win a Super Bowl. But once again, it's about the process. And I tell the guys all the time, it's about process and progress and moving forward.
3 prongs. 3 prongs to this, Scaz. First one. This offense needs to be competitive at some point this year. I need to see a competitive offense. I need to see an offense that has the chance to score, 20 to 23 points a game. At some point. It might not happen the first week. It might not happen the first couple weeks. But at some point, we need a competitive offense. An offense that actually looks like an NFL offense. It resembles an NFL offense. That's one thing. That's one of the prongs. Is I want to see The football matriculating down the field more than we've seen it the past couple of years. Please, football gods, if you're willing, a competitive offense after the Patricia Judge experiment, after that 2023 atrocity. I mean, 2023 was so damn bad. Warren Sharp posted this in June. Number of drives ending in a punt or turnover. The least amount, Dallas, 68. The most, your New England Patriots, 142. More than 2 times the times that Dallas ended in a punt or a turnover. The next closest team to the Patriots was 138, and that was the Jets. The Patriots' 142 drives ending in a punt or turnover are the most in the NFL since 2012. 70% of their total drives ended in a punt or turnover, which was the highest percentage since 2018. Yuck, yuck, yuckity, yuck. Percentage of second-half drives that went 3 and out. New England, 41%. Ugh. That's how bad the offense was last year. So please give me a competitive offense at some point within the first month and a half of this season. We can watch and say, they're making strides. Second prong, Drake May develops. There is nothing more important, absolutely nothing more important to this football season than your rookie quarterback developing. Is he playing? When does he play? And do we walk out of 2024 with some hope? We have some hope. We have something to look forward to because we saw the rookie quarterback progress. And by the end of the year, he was giving us the promise. He was looking like a guy that could actually be a legitimate, hands-down QB1. So that's the second prong. I want an offense that eventually can start scoring 20 to 23 points a game, be competitive. I want the rookie quarterback to develop. The third prong as to what I would deem a successful season is that not only Drake May develops through the year, but this team improves throughout the year. And that doesn't mean that they have to win more games as the year goes on. As long as they are competing, as long as they are a quote-unquote tough out, right? If the team improves throughout the year, the last month of the season, where are they? What do they look like? If by the end of the year, the defense is looking like a top 5 to 8 defense in football, the offense is scoring 20-plus points a game, Drake May has developed and looks like he's ready to take off for 2025. If you're checking those boxes by the end of the year, that to me is a successful season. What about you? What would you deem a successful season this year for the Patriots? 617-779-0985. Let's go to Alex in Gardner. Hey, Alex.
Hey, man. I think a successful season would look like just what you said, those 2 points with Drake May looking better. But I think the receivers developing, too, would be huge. And we got to see what Jabril Mayo's got. Thanks, man. I'll hang up.
I appreciate it, Alex. Thank you for the phone call, bud. Mayo, right? I love that Mayo earlier this week came out and he said, I'm going to make mistakes. We talked about that on Tuesday night when I was filling in for Joe. He came out and just blatantly said it. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to F up every once in a while. But I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm not going to be a quote-unquote repeat offender. So you could absolutely put Mayo into this conversation. You could easily throw him into this conversation. Has he progressed with Drake May? Has Mayo gotten better as the team gets better, if they do get better? Jalen Polk, Javon Baker. I mean, I think you feel pretty good about this year if in the final month you have an NFL QB1 in Drake May, and you know it, and he knows it, and we all know it, and we look at him play and we say, he's got it. Like, we don't have much doubt about his ability to, put a season together in 2025 that really gets us excited. And so you're looking at him, and then you have Polk and Baker. If you could have, it's a very difficult ask. But if you could get your 2 rookie receivers along with Drake May by the end of this year, by the final month of this season, if those guys are giving us the promise, they're giving us the hope, they're giving us a reason to believe for 2025, that's a huge step in the right direction. I'm confident that Jalen Polk will get there sooner rather than later. I think Jalen Polk is going to be a day one contributor to this football team. I think May will eventually get there. It's going to take him longer. Baker, a little bit of a wild card. Love the pick. But, a lot of people will talk to you about, his circle of friends and, some of the stuff and how he handles himself and all that stuff. I don't know him, so I'm not going to sit here and pass judgment on the guy. I'm just telling you what other people have reported and what they've said. So a little bit of a wild card, was hurt in minicamp. He made a big play today from Joe Milton. That was nice. But if you could say that Polk, Baker, and May, that trio gives you hope by the end of this year, I think that will breed a lot of optimism and breathe life into this football team. What would you deem a successful season from the Patriots? 617-779-0985. More of your reaction. Also, what's the most important observation from this camp so far this week? My answer next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Gallagher and Maz are just his pregame.
They've been getting wholesale deals for years.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hall.
Coming out of the spring, I don't think there's any doubt Jacoby is the starting quarterback at this point in time. I mean, we can look at these other quarterbacks on the roster. At the same time, like it's about competition. And so when we get out on the field this summer with the pads on, we'll see how it all plays out. But, coming out of the spring, I think it's clear that Jacoby is the most pro-ready guy we have and play a lot of football.
This Red Sox bullpen sucks right now. Royally sucks. Post All-Star break, it's been rinse repeat. Honestly. Starter can't get you 5 innings. So you have to go into your bullpen early. And your bullpen can't do anything. Kelly just gave up a 3-run bomb to Aaron Judge. Moonshot. Batting practice fastball. Middle.
Why don't you walk him there?
750 feet later. He almost hit it out of the stadium.
Just walk him.
To center field. He almost hit it out of Fenway to center field. And here's another one. It's another bomb, isn't it? Another bomb. Back-to-back home runs. Absolute meltdown. This bullpen sucks. No Slayton. No Martin. Kenley Jansen imploded twice in L.A. This bullpen right now can't get out of its own way. You have to acquire an arm. You have to acquire a bullpen arm. Craig, you have to acquire a late-inning, high-leverage arm. It's a disaster. Absolute meltdown. Raffy boots a ball at third to start the inning. Bernardino walks Juan Soto, lefty-lefty matchup, just burn that to the ground by walking him. Then Kelly comes in and gives up back-to-back bombs. 7-4 Yankees, top of the 7th. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have also left like 10 guys on base. They had bases loaded with 1 out in the first inning. O'Neill got a sac fly. They got 1 run out of it. Just brutal. I mean, it's the same story post All-Star break with this team. You don't get enough innings from your starters, and then your bullpen just stinks. Ugh. Bayo couldn't get you more than 5 tonight. I mean, Cora's trying. What do you do? No Slayton. No Martin. You didn't have Jansen in Colorado. You have to go get an arm. You have to. Matt McCarthy said it tonight before the game. McCarthy said it before the game. He said you had to go out and get a bullpen arm before this series. I don't know how far that ball was hit by Judge. It was center field, almost out of the park. It's 470 feet. 470 feet. That's the second home run in the last 5 or 6 days that somebody's hit against this Red Sox pitching staff that's been 470 or deeper.
That thing looked like it was headed for the red seat in Fenway. If it was headed that way, that thing was crushed.
If this was ESPN, they would have shown the home run 175 times like they showed Ohtani's the other night. My God. Sunday night, how many times they show that home run ball? How many times they remind you that it was, 473? I remember it because they said it 1 billion times. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a baseball hit where he hit that ball. 114 off the bat. Disaster. Another hit. The wheels are off, folks. The wheels are off. You can't get more than 5 from a starting pitcher. Your bullpen stinks. You're leaving guys on. You're going against a lefty tonight, and you actually led this game multiple times. You came into this game saying they can't hit lefties, no chance, forget about it, this game's over, they're going to lose this game. They gave themselves a chance multiple times. But the staff has urinated down their leg tremendously. Who's that? Anderson warming up? Great. 7th inning, 1 out, Anderson's warming up. There's the answer to all the problems. Oh, my God, I hate this. I absolutely hate this. I really do. I really freaking do. Have no fear. Chase Anderson's warming up. I'm telling you. That'll scare the Yankee lineup. Oh, yeah? Just wait till he gets in, okay? Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Awful. On Twitter, at Nick C Radio. From at Elvis Cole. This Pats team has no playmakers. That's it. Yeah, I would not say there's an abundance of playmakers. I think Pop Douglas is a playmaker. Ramondre Stevenson, in his own way, is kind of a playmaker. Javon Baker, I think, could be that guy from time to time. But they don't have... I do think Jaheim Bell could be a playmaker in this specific scheme. Now, are they like top of the market, top of the position playmakers? No. We talk about striking fear. They don't have anybody offensively at the skill positions that would strike fear into a defense. And that's why they need a wide receiver one. They need a bona fide number one receiver. Somebody who defenses go into that game saying, we've got to stop that guy from killing us. All right, let's give something away, shall we? It's my first giveaway, Scaz. Is there a different number, or are we just going to roll with the same number?
The contest line, 617-931-0985.
You know, it would be good if I read the copy you gave me, which starts out with caller number 10 to the contest line.
Hey, we try to make things easy here.
Sorry, the Red Sox pissed me off. I'm distracted. They're going to text you. They're going to text you in a minute, Scaz. Get you in the bullpen. All right. Got a giveaway. Caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985. 617-931-0985. Caller number 10 to the contest line scores a 4-pack of passes to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame's newest exhibit, The Vault, featuring the legendary 18-time NBA champion Boston Celtics. Experience the dynasty for yourself at the Hall of Fame. This is great. You can learn more at hoophall.com. Again, caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985. You get a 4-pack of passes to go to the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame's newest exhibit, The Vault, featuring the legendary 18-time NBA champion Boston Celtics. That website is hoophall.com. Congratulations, caller number 10 at 617-931-0985. Okay. Red Sox, my whole thing, we're moving on. And I promise you, coming up next, I will tell you what the most important observation from camp this week has been.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox, Yankees at Fenway. As you just heard, it's not going well. It's not going well at all. Yankees up 7-4. Aaron Judge
Out of the spring, I don't think there's any doubt Jacoby is the starting quarterback at this point in time. I mean, we can look at these other quarterbacks on the roster. At the same time, like it's about competition. And so when we get out on the field this summer with the pads on, we'll see how it all plays out. But, coming out of the spring, I think it's clear that Jacoby is the most pro-ready guy we have and play a lot of football.
That was Gerard Mayo earlier this week. I'm Nick Cattles in for Joe Murray on this Friday. Scaz behind the glass. Working hard on a Friday night. Hopefully all of you are enjoying your Friday night. I just had the most, I don't want to say embarrassing, loser-like conversations with my wife on a chat. I might share a little bit later. I don't know what's become of my life. That's all I'll say for now. So that was Mayo talking about Jacoby Brissett clearly being QB1 coming out of the spring. And by the way, is there an issue with QB1 and wide receiver 1? I keep hearing people over the last couple days that are like making fun of that. I love saying that. QB1, wide receiver 1, makes sense. Red Sox keep fighting, by the way. Cedon Rafaela just hit a ball out of Fenway Park. 2-run bomb to left field. 7-6. Yankees up by 1. Bottom of the 7th. The most important observation that I have made through the first 3 days of this camp is how the quarterbacks are being handled. Camp day 1, camp day 2, Brissett and May pretty much even with the reps. Today, third day of training camp, Brissett had 19 reps. May had 23 reps. Now, I'm not always into he went, 17 for 23 and through this and through that during camp, especially before you put the pads on. But I do pay attention to the reps because the reps are important. And so through the first 3 days of camp, Drake May, I believe, has had more reps at quarterback than Brissett. Now, that's not to tell you that May is the number one quarterback of this team. He's not. At least, not yet. Brissett is still getting the reps with the 1s. May is getting most of his reps with the 2s. We get it. But the amount of reps means something because if you're splitting reps for all intents and purposes between two quarterbacks, there's a legitimate competition going on, folks. If Brissett right now was being treated as the no doubt, surefire, unequivocal starting quarterback of this football team for 2024, he'd be getting more reps than Drake May. Now, maybe this changes next week. Maybe it changes. But we can only go off of what we've seen so far. And so far, splitting the reps pretty much half and half between Brissett and May tells you there's a legitimate competition going on at camp. And I think that's the right way to do it. That's the right way for both guys. You are hopefully getting more from Jacoby Brissett, stoking the competitive flames within him, right? Get him all worked up. Make him want to defend his job, defend his position as the starting quarterback, and fight off the young rookie who's trying to step up. And for May, that's precisely what he's trying to do. He's trying to step up. He's trying to chase the veteran. He's trying to make Brissett uncomfortable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with competition. Competition gets the best out of anybody. Whether it's radio, it's baseball, it's football, it's any job that you do, competition is a great thing. And so I think that's a vital part of this camp so far, is the fact that the Patriots are opening the door for May here. They are opening that door, and they're saying, rookie, this is your job to take. If you want this job, you take this job. We're going to give you the same amount of reps, if not more reps than Brissett, to prove yourself, to show that you can take this job from him. And I don't know how far ahead Brissett is of May. I know what Mayo said on Tuesday. We just played it for you. But there's different gradations. I don't know how far ahead Brissett is. This thing might be tighter than we know. And it's not like Brissett is running away with it. As a matter of fact, through the first 3 days of camp, May is the one that's been flashing. You look at all the big plays. You look at all the best plays so far from that position. They've come from May. And yes, he's been inconsistent. He's been up and down. But he has also shown out at least a handful of times with plays that Brissett might not be capable of making. And the question is, are those flashes enough? How much better does Brissett have to be than May to keep this job? He's not the incumbent. I mean, he wasn't here last year. So how much better does he have to be, and how far ahead is he truly? It seems to me that these guys are closer than Mayo and the coaching staff want to tell us if we're going off the first 3 days of camp. Again, it might change next week. They put the pads on. Maybe Brissett is taking 20 reps and Drake May's taking 6. But through the first 3 days, and we'll see what happens on Sunday. They're off tomorrow. The first 3 days, we have seen a split. And May's flashes are going to be sexier than Brissett's because he has more natural talent than Brissett. He can do more than Brissett, especially off platform, off schedule. So you're going to see these flashes from May. Brissett has to be consistent, consistently good, not turning the football over, not messing up. That's how he's going to keep his spot. If he starts to be inconsistent, and there's been some inconsistency there, if he is showing inconsistency through this camp season, and May is inconsistent, but May is showing you those flashes, then you start looking at potential, you look at ceiling, and you say to yourself, hey, man, maybe May can actually take this gig from Brissett quicker than we thought. The Pats are being more aggressive with May than I thought. I thought they would be giving Brissett more snaps, more reps. They haven't so far. And so this is interesting to keep an eye on. Obviously, it's the most crucial part of this team this year is the development of May. If you develop May in the right way, and he ends up showing promise, and he ends up giving you some really good football towards the end of the season or by the end of the season, that's so huge. You don't want to be walking into 2025 with your palms up towards the sky and saying, I don't know what we got. You know what we got? I don't know what we got. So we'll see if the Patriots are giving May more snaps before the quote-unquote real football begins on Monday. But so far, he's been given a chance by this staff. Mayo is giving him a chance to win this job. And I think it's a you love to see it kind of scenario. Let's see what the rookie can do. You drafted him third. Give him a shot. 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray. Murray's Musings coming up.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
At all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
I remembered this time. How many night shows have I done when I kind of jump in front of Feldman? I get all excited when I hear Ice Cube. And I just railroad Feldman right off. Get out of my way, Feldman. Look with this chat between my wife and I. Do you want one of the two or you want both, Scaz? This is my last night show for quite a while. This might be my last night show of the summer. Who knows?
I need to hear this conversation between you and your wife.
It's a quick one, but it just shows you where my life is now. Friday night, right? And Friday night, I'm usually like, go to a brewery, hang out for a little bit, have a good time. So I'm obviously working, if you haven't noticed, tonight for the man, myth, legend, one Joe Murray. And so every night I have a snack, Scaz. Two of my favorite snacks. Have you had chocolate hummus?
I like hummus. I've seen the chocolate hummus, but I've always been skeptical of it.
My friend, get yourself Boar's Head chocolate hummus.
Tough day for Boar's Head, but yeah.
Why? What happened?
Oh, you didn't see this?
No.
Oh, Boar's Head, massive deli meat outbreak. They've shut down supermarkets and yeah.
God, don't tell me that.
Yeah, Google that. That is, I believe, all the Stop and Shops and Big Y's in Massachusetts had to close their delis today.
Listeria?
Yes, not good. Not a good day.
What is Listeria?
I heard Big Jim in McCarthy talking about this earlier. Yeah,
my God,
not good.
What about the hummus?
I'm hoping the hummus is safe.
I need details on the hummus. I got what's it called? Listeria? It was in liverwurst.
Out on that.
I was going to say, if you're eating liverwurst, you might deserve Listeria. I'm only joking, everybody. Relax. So, under normal circumstances, if it's not part of a massive recall, Boar's Head dark chocolate hummus. So good.
But like, what do you use with it? Like, what do you dip?
I go strawberries.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I go strawberries. And it's like 80 calories for a couple of tablespoons. It's not bad. Plop, and a little like Tupperware thing. Chop up the strawberries, and it's fantastic. This is my life. So, the other snack that I like at night is apples, and Kelly will chop up the apples, and she'll put like dark chocolate, a little bit of peanut butter on the apple, and like drizzle it over the apple, and then you put like cashews and other stuff on there, and it sticks to the so good. So this is what I chatted to Kelly at 8:18 tonight. Definitely want something to look forward to when I get home. You think this is going somewhere with my wife, right? Right? From a normal human being. Definitely want something to look forward to when I get home tonight. LOL. Where you going with this, Nick? ... Do we have an apple to get funky with? She responds at 8:20. Let me check. Then she made me wait. Like, I don't know, almost an hour. And I'm like wondering with anticipation, do we have apples or not? This is what makes my Friday night a success or not if we have apples. And she said, sorry for the delay. Yes, I have apples. And I said, yes, there are apples. Looking forward to apple sweetness at around 11:40 p.m. And then I chatted to her. This is my life. On a Friday night, I'm looking forward to apples and peanut butter. Divorce me now before it's too late. Because it's only going to get worse, isn't it? So that's the loser chat of the night. Let me get to algorithms for a minute. Get that off my chest. Now this is not to be like, look at me, okay? So don't take that from this. I have over 11,000 Twitter followers, okay? Not as many as some others on this station. Not nearly as many as celebrities and all that, but 11,000 followers. I take pride in that. People, if they follow you, they tend to kind of want to check out your content and what you're doing. Here's my issue. Why do I have over 11,000 followers, but when I tweet something, it's seen by like 200 people? What is this crap? What is this crap? I go to my profile, again, 11,094 followers. You can follow me at Nick C Radio, by the way. I tweeted out earlier tonight, trade for a late inning arm, Brez, now. Over 11,000 followers. That tweet was viewed only 635 times. How is that fair? Why do we even have a number of followers if they can't see what you tweet? Because it didn't hit the algorithm. It's BS. What's the point of followers? They want to see your content. They want to see your thoughts, right? That's why they're following you. The other thing is that these algorithms, like Twitter and stuff, they create engagement hacks. Like, this is why people try to get engagement, because they want more views to their tweets, because they're sick and tired of having 25,000 followers and 200 looking at the tweet. So they try to, the lowest hanging fruit kind of thing to get engagement. So it's creating terrible tweets. The algorithm creates terrible tweets. Elon, are you listening? Your Teslas are dangerous, too, because the monitor is too huge in your damn car. People are too distracted by it. So you got all these people just tweeting low-hanging fruit. The YouTube algorithm also bothers me. Hi, YouTube people. How you doing? I'm going to do it right now. Don't forget, while you're watching this program, to give us that like, thumbs up, throw a comment in, and subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. I have a podcast, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can check it out on YouTube. Look for my name. You'll find it. And I have to say that like 3 times a podcast because more people click the thumbs up button. YouTube shoots the video to more people. So I'm like, I have to force myself to push for likes, comments, and subscriptions, which I know gets repetitive, but I've got to do it. I have no other choice. If I want my podcast and my YouTube channel to grow, this is what you have to do. Oh, and it also forces you to create controversial headlines or clickbait titles, right? It's all because of the algorithm. I don't want to do it. And people might go and they say, Nick, why are you stirring up a controversy? I'm not trying to stir up a controversy. There's literally certain words you can use, and if you capitalize them and all these ridiculous tricks, I don't even know them. I just know, try to use follow somebody on social media, allow that person to see what the content is. I know it's crazy, but isn't that the point? But yet I see all sorts of tweets from people that I don't follow somehow, some way. Oh, and at times, did you know that they literally have you unfollow people unbeknownst to you?
That I was not aware of.
Ty Anderson kind of gave me a little bit of the business on Twitter going back a few weeks ago. I don't know if he's still upset or not, but I didn't know that he reported something about the goaltender situation. I didn't see it. Sorry, Ty. I can't see everything. I'm one human being. I don't have a production team behind me. So I didn't see it. So I think Ty was a little, unhappy with me. I think he unfollowed me. That's when you know. But then I realized somebody tweeted something from Ty, and I realized that for some reason I was no longer following Ty. And so do you know Stool Greeny from Barstool? He follows me on Twitter. And I realized that he wasn't following me anymore. And I was like, we got beef? He's like, no, what do you mean? I'm like, you don't follow me anymore. He's like, I don't follow you anymore? I'm like, no.
Now that you say this did happen to me with our good friend B-Rob, works at the station.
Yeah.
Great Mass Live writer. B-Rob's one of my favorites. Work with him all the time on Celtics games. One day I just went to Twitter and I wasn't following B-Rob anymore. And I was like, wait a second. One of my favorites.
It's so ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. There you go.
Well, I'm happy you have something to look forward to when you get home.
Apples. Yeah, we have them. Super pumped about that. 10 o'clock on a Friday. No idea what we're going to talk about. We might get a little crazy. Who knows? Stay tuned. 90 seconds.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, relatable, reliable,
We're doing it live.
This is Boston's home for sports. WBC-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub.
A Beasley Media Group station.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox Yankees a little bit crazy at Fenway tonight on a Friday. Red Sox down 7-6. They are threatening in the bottom of the eighth. Couple of runners on. Devers just popped out, but still threatening. We'll see if they can do something about it. Earlier today, Red Sox announced they've acquired James Paxton from the Dodgers in exchange for minor league infielder Moises Bolivar. Paxton has a 4.43 ERA this season. A lot of trades in baseball today. Mariners acquired Randy Arozarena from Tampa. They also acquired right-handed reliever Yimi Garcia from the Blue Jays. Phillies dealt Sir Anthony Dominguez, one of the best names in baseball, right-handed pitcher, and Christian Pache to the Orioles for outfielder Austin Hayes. The Orioles also acquired right-handed pitcher Zach Eflin from Tampa. Let's talk about the NFL because there's lots of news in the NFL tonight. Patriots hammer out a 3-year extension with Jabril Peppers. $24 million is the base value of it. He can earn up to $30 million. Other NFL news, Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins agree to a 4-year, $212.4 million contract. $167 million of that is guaranteed. Meanwhile, Jordan Love, he agreed to a 4-year extension with Green Bay worth $220 million, which makes him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, despite only starting one full season. Love will reportedly make $155 million guaranteed. Oh, and Lamar Jackson. He remains sidelined with an illness. Ravens say they'll continue to put him through some tests and have their medical team take care of him. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Nick Cattles on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10:30.
Let's talk turkey, shall we?
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, in the sports industry, that's what you say.
Got your talking head right here, buddy.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sorry, as I was bitching about Twitter, I'm tweeting. I'm the worst. Red Sox hitters, they don't quit, man. I'll give them that. They won't quit. There's Danny Carey. Good old tool. Yeah, Yoshida. Get that ball up the middle, baby. Get that baseball up the middle. This team doesn't quit. Red Sox up 9-7 in the bottom of the eighth. I mean, how many times have they led this game? Pitching staff loses the lead. They then get the lead back. Staff loses the lead. They then get the lead back. That's at least 3 or 4 times tonight. And how many times have they done that since post-All-Star break? They did it a bunch against the Dodgers. I mean, how many times? They build leads, staff loses them, and then they come back swinging away. It's pretty impressive.
How is Aaron Boone still the manager of the New York Yankees?
I don't know. Holmes isn't that good either.
No. Why did he think he was going to get a 5-out save? No shot.
It's Aaron Boone.
I hope he has a job forever.
Well, we don't have to worry about Alex Cora going to New York anytime soon. That story came and went pretty quickly. So, they keep fighting. They keep scrapping. You love to see it. The bullpen pooping their pants. And the Sox just keep coming back. Some resiliency. Some good old-fashioned resiliency, Scaz, is what we're seeing. And I imagine that you'll have Jansen for the 9th. So let's see how that goes. Because last couple times we've seen Kenley hasn't been that good. Maybe that was just like the Dodgers, it was in his head. But we'll see. Lots of fight from this team tonight. Great to see. They continue to battle. They continue to battle, and hopefully Craig Breslow is able to get them a late-inning reliever. They got James Paxton today from the Dodgers. Breslow was on Nesson earlier today talking about getting a right-handed bat and a reliever, so he knows. Breslow sounds like he understands the mission. Let's see if he can accomplish it. Meanwhile, Patriots, third day of camp today. Pretty much up and down for the offense. Up and down for Drake May. He threw his first interception of camp today to Matthew Judon, of all people. And I just, overall, I'll say this, and this might not be the sexiest thing to say on the radio, but I couldn't care less. If you've listened to me before, you know. I just care about being genuine. I care about being honest with you. I'm not going to lose my mind over certain things too early. It's not really what I do. I look at the big picture, and that might irritate some people. But it's fine. We'll agree to disagree. And I'm not going to lose my mind right now about this offense, and I'm certainly not going to lose my mind about May. We are 3 days into camp, folks. 3 days. That's it. Pads don't even start to become a part of the equation until on Monday. So we're really early in this, okay? And when I'm watching May and I'm listening to May, I just keep going back to what the conversation was in April. The conversation in April was this guy is raw. If the Patriots draft May, they have to be patient with him. Dan Orlovsky was saying you might have to sit him for 2 years. And I think that was a little bit of overkill. But it just brings you back to this idea. He's far from polished. He was not supposed to be a polished product walking onto the field, especially this early in camp. So patience is paramount when we talk about May. We knew who he was, and I'm not going to hold that against him. At North Carolina, he had ups, he had some downs. We knew that. We knew that he has tantalizing talent, unbelievable potential. But with that is going to come growing pains. With that comes a learning curve. And so I am going to treat May as I said I was going to treat him back in April, which is I'm going to be patient. And there is no specific timeline or time frame that makes more sense. There's just not. Okay? He will be ready when he's ready. And we all understood when they drafted him that it might take him longer than it takes Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. Michael Penix, even though Atlanta didn't care because they were like, we're going to draft Penix anyway and wait until he's like 28 before he plays a football game because we just signed Kirk Cousins. So you got the offensive line shuffling around. You're not really running the football this early in camp. And you want to see how May handles adversity. And today, first opportunity to handle the adversity, and he handled it. He threw the pick, and then he came right back and made some plays. Evan Lazar tweeted out earlier today, up and down for the Patriots offense. Tweeting about May, he said he liked the bounce back from May after the interception. Threw an in-cut to Rager, shallow cross to Wells, quick out to Polk, and an angle to Hasty. And I do wonder, I don't know if anybody is going to ask Mayo the question the next time he meets with the media, but I do wonder, did they throw Drake May out there right after the pick to see how he would respond? I would have to imagine they did, right? He throws the first pick of his camp. It was a bad decision. It was a bad throw. He knew it. The team knew it. But he went right back out there. So there was no alternating at that point, which is interesting to me, right? It feels like he threw the pick and the coaching staff said, let's throw him right back out there. Whether or not that was because they wanted to see how he would deal with throwing the pick. You know, would he come right back and throw another pick? Would he have a meltdown? Or maybe they just thought if we throw him right back out there, he's not going to have time to think about his mistake. Just let his natural talent take over and just do what he does. So I thought that was very interesting from the Patriots coaching staff, that he throws his first interception in camp, bad decision, bad throw, and they put him right back out there on the field, and he responded. Not telling you he's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not even telling you he's going to start week 1. I'm not telling you he'll start the first month of this season. All I'm telling you, aside from Aaron Judge striking out on 3 pitches, is that he faced adversity and he handled it. It was his first shot at showing that he can do that on an NFL field, albeit a practice field. He did show some of that at North Carolina. And both Wolf and Mayo brought that up after they drafted him. Right? As soon as they drafted May, they told the media, this is somebody who took an awful lot. He put an awful lot on his back at UNC. And he responded. And he responded at North Carolina. He would answer questions after losses, which is something that Wolf pointed out. And you see the ability, his first chance to show it, you see the ability to come back from a bad pick. And if he continues to show that ability to get through the adversity, to push through it, that could only mean good things. But as far as May overall, we got to be patient with him. We got to be patient. So I'm going to keep preaching patience. And I'm not going to stop. Look at Jordan Love just signed for $220 million, right? Just got $155 million guaranteed. I remember doing radio down in Virginia when Jordan Love was a rookie and when he was in his second season. I remember interviewing Rob Domofsky of ESPN, who is the beat writer for the Packers. And I remember Domofsky talking about how bad Jordan Love was at practice. You see the Nets? If you watch the Patriots, right? You see the training camp video and they have nets and the quarterbacks are throwing into the net. They have like little squares in the nets and the quarterbacks are throwing it into the squares. Jordan Love was like missing the nets. Like that's how bad it was. But they were patient. And if you think he has talent, like we think Drake May has talent, that patience can pay off. Your thoughts on Drake May's start of camp through the first 3 days? I'm not too worried about it. I think he has shown some flashes of brilliance. He's made some plays that a lot of guys can't make, and he's also had some bad plays mixed in. To me, totally expected. 617-779-0985 is the telephone number. Your thoughts on Drake May. Nick Cattle's in for Joe Murray. Also, will the Patriots, will they learn from the past? We'll get to that next.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Ways 606 Washington Street, Dedham. Map pricing may apply.
Around here, we call them the Joe Murray Pre-Party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
No Joe Murray tonight. Nick Cattle's with you on this Friday. Thank you for being with us tonight. Getting late on a Friday. So I don't know what happened, by the way. The Red Sox win 9-7. And for some reason, like a minute or so, if not longer, before I saw the final out and Scaz saw the final out, Carabas was tweeting that they won. Like a full minute before. He tweeted out as usual, with the gold bottles and stuff. 55 seconds ago, he tweeted. Bayo was solid, RBI knock for Raffy, RBI double for Ref Snyder, on and on and on, hashtag gold bottles. That's a big win. Big win for the Red Sox. That's a great win for the Red Sox. First of all, you were facing a lefty, right? Left-handed starting pitcher. Uh-oh. Don't like your chances to start. Brian Bayo, as we know, he's been up and down. So you had a lefty, you had Bayo. I know Bayo has a good history against the Yankees, but still. So you start the game thinking you're behind the 8 ball. Then you get up early in the game. Yankees come back. You get up again in the game. Yankees come back. Then the Yankees take a lead. And the Red Sox could have easily packed their bags and called it a night. They could have tapped out, called it a night. This one's over. And let the bullpen impact the rest of the game, tap out, and lose. But they didn't. Ceddanne Rafaela with a 2-run bomb. Then you had Wilyer Abreu chip in with a double in the 8th to tie the game. Then you had Yoshida with the game-winning 2-run hit. They just kept coming back. They kept fighting. They kept fighting. They kept fighting. The resiliency. You watch this game tonight, and that's why Alex Cora said going back a few weeks ago, I don't think this team is going to get into a long losing streak. Now, of course, they've had their issues post-All-Star break, but you can't predict everything. You can't predict Slayton not coming back just yet. You can't predict Martin taking a step back in his progress. Both of those guys are now apparently at least, playing catch, which is a nice step forward. But this is a team that believes in itself. And after that Dodgers series, after getting embarrassed in Colorado on Wednesday, the tenor of this game, how it was going, they could have quit. But they didn't. It's a ballsy win. Ballsy win by the Red Sox. By the way, a guy that's not going to be mentioned much, let's give it to Bailey Horn. He had a pretty big inning in relief tonight. Everybody else in the bullpen sucked. I mean, Jansen was kind of tiptoeing around the tulips in the 9th inning tonight. Ball off the wall. His control was a little erratic. I mean, he started the 9th inning striking out Aaron Judge on 3 pitches. Boom, boom, boom. See you later. Then he got into a little bit of a rough patch. Fortunately, LeMahieu swung at a ball pretty much eye high to strike out. And then he gets the ground out to end the game. But this is a ballsy win. And Bailey Horn, let's not overlook what he did tonight. He steps up. He stepped up tonight. Big 8th inning. I mean, Bernardino gave up a couple of runs. Devers booted a ball at third, which didn't help. But Bernardino gave up a couple of runs. Zach Kelly was awful. He gave up a mammoth shot to Aaron Judge. One of the longest, if not the longest, home run I've ever seen hit at Fenway. And you were left with Bailey Horn coming in the 8th inning of a Red Sox-Yankees game with your bullpen melting down once again. And he gives you 1 inning of scoreless baseball. He's the bridge to get to Kenley Jansen. That scoreless 8th inning opens the door for the Red Sox to do what they do in the bottom of the 8th. Jansen goes out there and does what he does, and now you get a win. Big-time win. Only 2 games back, right, in the loss column behind the Yankees. I mean, this is a pretty significant win that they needed. Coming off of that Dodgers series, coming off of a Rockies series that, many of us thought they'd win at least 2 out of 3, if not sweep that series in Denver, and they got their asses handed to them. For them to come back and win this game the way they did tonight, that is a character win. And now it's up to Breslow. Now it's up to Breslow to go out there, get a bullpen arm, get a right-handed bat. Let's go. That's what this team needs. Breslow knows it. I know it. Scaz knows it. You know it. The American people know it. Right-handed bat, relief pitcher, and you feel good. But that is a great win from this team. If you have thoughts on the win tonight at Fenway, Red Sox beat the Yankees 9-7. Give us a call, 617-779-0985. Again, 617-779-0985. They're patching this thing together. They really are. And I know it's been brutal. 1-5 post-All-Star break. But, that Dodgers series, the bullpen doesn't collapse. The bullpen doesn't fall apart multiple times. You take 2 out of 3 games in that Dodgers series. There was no saving Wednesday. Pivetta was brutal. I mean, you give up 20 runs. There's no saving that game. But now hopefully they get the help that they need. Derek Lander, 75826 on Twitter at Nick C Radio. Don't forget Winkowski there, though. Yes. Winkowski came in second and third, 1 out, got out of the jam. I tweeted about it a while back. Gave him his credit. Great job by Wink to get out of the jam. And he got out of the jam. So, Winkowski showed up big. Got a ground ball. Got the out at home. Then finished it out. And then you had Bailey Horn in the 8th. And Jansen did just enough in the 9th. So shout out to Winkowski. Shout out to Horn. Shout out to Jansen. 3 guys that, at least acted as somewhat of a life raft tonight for that bully. And the lineup that just didn't have any quit in it. Kept going after the Yankees over and over and over again. So that's a big win. That is a big win. What are the Orioles doing tonight? They done yet? Nice. Orioles lost. So now all of a sudden you look, right? About a handful of games out. About a handful of games out in the AL East. You pick up a game on the Yankees. You pick up a game on the Orioles. Not bad. Not a bad night. Get through a left-handed starter. Not too shabby. What'd the Royals do? Do we have the hat trick? Royals beat the Cubs. Cubs suck. So unfortunately the Royals won. But you picked up a game on the O's and you picked up a game on the Yankees. Quality night. Speaking of the Red Sox, they made an addition earlier today. I want to talk about that addition, and I want to get to a blast from the past for the Patriots and whether or not the Patriots will learn a couple of lessons, or have they already, from that blast in the past. That's all coming up next.
Sports Hub headlines.
I just talked about it. Red Sox beat the Yankees at Fenway Park tonight, 9-7. It was their 6th win of the year after trailing later than the 7th inning. So, nice win for them. Cedar Rafaela with a 2-run bomb. Rob Refsnyder, 3 for 4. Joe Murray out. Vic Cattle's in on a Friday night. Happy to be with you for another 20 minutes or so. Couple things. Let's start with the Red Sox. Big win at Fenway tonight. 9-7, beat the Yankees. Pick up a game on the Yankees and the Orioles. Orioles lost tonight. And the other news with the Red Sox happened earlier today. They added James Paxton. Made a deal with the LA Dodgers. They acquired Paxton in exchange for a minor league infielder Moises Bolivar. Now, to make room for Paxton on the 40-man, Sox transferred Brian Mata, right-handed pitcher, to the 60-day IL. He just can't stay healthy. That was Jen McCaffrey with that news. If you're wondering who Bolivar is, Chris Cotillo was all over it. He's a 17-year-old who signed as an international free agent in January for $25,000. So maybe he ends up becoming a superstar 7 years from now, but not a big price to pay for Paxton. And I know he's not a frontline guy. We would all love a frontline guy, but he helps. Paxton absolutely helps this team. Rob Bradford wrote about Paxton earlier today. While his ERA sits at 4.43 over 18 starts, in 5 outings against AL teams, Paxton has gone 3-0 with a 3.16 ERA. In 8 of his starts, the left-hander has thrown at least 5 innings and allowed 2 runs or fewer. Great, he'll fit right in. 5 innings. Don't look for 6 or 7 innings from these guys, okay? Cora just said, by the way, in the postgame, early in the season it felt like a museum, the Fenway experience. Now sometimes I get chills looking around. I can't hear it, obviously, because I'm in the studio doing a talk show. But apparently it was very loud and celebratory at Fenway tonight. So that's great to hear. That is fantastic to hear. But back to Paxton. He's going to help. Again, he's going to help. You have the innings that Houck has thrown. He is well beyond his career high in innings, especially by the time you get to the end of this season. I mean, he's blowing by that mark. Cutter Crawford is blowing by his career high in innings. So you needed another arm. And Paxton pitched well for most of the season last year. Kind of went off the rails, but, Cora said today he's healthy. And as long as he's healthy, he should be able to give you some innings. And I do wonder, will the Red Sox go with 6 in the rotation? Will they go with a 6-man rotation a couple of times? So you don't have to throw Houck and Crawford out there as much. Interesting question. I think it's on the table. Meanwhile, Blast from the Past spoke to the Athletic. My friend Jeff Howe at the Athletic caught up with Scaz's favorite, Mac Jones. And Mac was talking about his time in Jacksonville so far. And a couple of quotes stood out to me. The first thing Mac said was, quote, "The whole change of scenery definitely helped. I'm just having fun playing football. I'm at my best when I'm keeping it loose, letting it rip, and having that gunslinger mindset that I maybe had lost a little bit of." And so when I read that quote, I said, well, it's interesting because now we know that Gerard Mayo and this Patriots coaching staff, they're not as militant, let's put it, as Belichick was, right? Elliot Wolf came out, I think it was around the Combine, and said that they're not going to be as hard-ass as they have been. And so you read that quote from Mac, and look, I'm not telling you that Mac would have been awesome, okay? But you just read the quote from Mac as he talks about, I lost almost like love of the game. I lost myself. I wasn't as loose. I wasn't having as much fun. And I think, obviously Mac is not the only guy that has said that about the Patriots. Rob Gronkowski has mentioned it several times. Guys in that dynasty, and I know the Dynasty documentary, we can crush it all we want, but guys in that documentary, they talked about how rough it was playing here for the Patriots and how it wasn't always fun and the grind was a true grind. So you look at the changes that the Patriots have made and how Mayo is approaching his job, and it's much different. It's much different than Belichick. And guys are having fun. They look a little bit more loose. Doesn't mean they're going to win more. Doesn't mean they're going to win at all. They could end up sucking anyway. But guys seem to be receptive to how Mayo is approaching the gig so far. And Mac also mentioned about being a gunslinger and how he lost some of that. And I think, with Mac, I don't know if I want him to be a gunslinger because he doesn't have the tools to be a gunslinger. But I think it's just the idea of playing free. And the Patriots can learn from that, right? Allow Drake May to play free. Now, if he's making a ton of dumb mistakes, you've got to slow it down a little bit, obviously. But you want him to feel free. You want him to play loose. You want him to believe in his own talent. You don't want to strip his creativity and some of the risk that he has from his play. The second comment from Mac that stood out to me was when he was talking about the Jaguar staff. Quote, the staff knows what it's like to be back there, talking about playing quarterback. Not just the quarterbacks, but everyone kind of thinks like a quarterback in this offense. You've got to be smart. You've got to know what the quarterback is thinking. It also allows the quarterback to be free and play fast. You've got so many voices in there who are helping you see the game through a quarterback lens, and I think that really helps. And when I read that quote from Mac, I thought about the current Patriots coaching staff. Think about what they've done. Think about the turnover offensively and what that turnover has consisted of, right? Think about the utter lack of quarterback voices in the room in 2022 and 2023 when they were making, Joe Judge a quarterback's coach or whatever the hell. Think about, when Bill O'Brien was here. And obviously he had experience with quarterbacks and he knows the deal. But when you compare what the Patriots were doing with their thinner staff and not as many quarterback voices in the room, guys that have actually played the position, Doug Peterson's played the position, right? He's Jacksonville's head coach. Look at what the Patriots have done with this staff and how they plan on handling this young quarterback this time around. You've got Alex Van Pelt, played the quarterback position in the NFL for a number of years, has been a quarterback's coach for a long time. Ben McAdoo, as a senior advisor, he's worked with a ton of quarterbacks, been an OC, has been a quarterback's coach. T.C. McCartney, a very well thought of young quarterback's coach. So this staff, they decided to have multiple guys in that offensive meeting that have backgrounds, either playing the position or working with the position for years. And it's a larger coaching staff. So the number of voices have grown. I think they have, 29 coaches or something crazy? More brain power in the room. So this is not to guarantee that May will work out. He'll be fantastic. The Patriots will win a ton of games, et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to guarantee any of that. I'm simply just reading what Mac Jones said to Jeff Howe, and I'm comparing what the staff and other things looked like here in New England when Mac was the quarterback to what they have done in the last few months. And they have changed an awful lot about their approach to players, their approach to practice, their approach to the staff and staffing this team. And so you can read those quotes from Mac Jones, and it's almost as if Elliott Wolf had the notes of what Mac said before Mac said it. And during the offseason, made a concerted effort to change some of the things that I would have to imagine multiple players, many players, were hoping would be made. Not just the Mac Jones thing. So I found that interesting. Will they learn from the past? And the lessons they learned from the last couple of years with Mac and some other players, will that inevitably make them better in the long run? Speaking of quarterbacks, one NFL quarterback is living rent-free in lots of heads nowadays. We'll talk about that next.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.1.
This could be my last night segment of the summer. Could be. We don't know. I know I will not be doing a night show for the next couple weeks at least. I don't have a show all of next week. What am I going to do? Watch a lot of pro wrestling and Olympics. That's what I'm going to do. Don't worry. I got it all mapped out already, folks. It all figured out. I will be on the air Sunday. So this Sunday, 2 to 5, solo. Should be fun. Patriots back at training camp on Sunday. Got the day off tomorrow. All right, so Patrick Mahomes is living rent-free in players' heads. The NFL Network did their NFL Top 100, and they caught up with Jamar Chase, and Chase just would not mention Mahomes by name.
And who's the number one player on the top 100 this year?
On the what? I'm not saying him. I give credit when it's due, but I'm not saying his name.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. I'm not saying his name, brother. I'm sorry. Joe Burrow. I'm not saying that guy's name. He's good. He's amazing. He's good. Not gonna lie. I'm salty, though. A little salty. 2 years in a row. But I'm putting Burrow first.
I'm salty. At least he admits it. I'm salty. I'm a little salty, though. He's not going to say his name. For wrestling fans like Joe Hendry, say his name and he will appear. But he's not going to say his name. And then you had a video of the Raiders. Did you see this, Scaz?
So I saw the response. I did not see the original video from the Raiders.
So the Raiders, they had a video. I don't know who it was, but they had a puppet, a Kermit puppet, dressed as Mahomes. Because obviously everybody talks about Mahomes sounding like Kermit the Frog when he talks. So that was making the rounds. Here was Andy Reid's reaction to CBS.
Patrick Mahomes got some fuel to the fire recently with the Raiders and a puppet and some other things out there. I know last year he was kind of searching for some things to fire him up, and he found them. Is it a smart idea to fire up Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I'd probably say not. We don't spend a lot of time here with puppets, so it's we try to do our work and try to get better. That's the important thing.
Honestly, what are you doing, Raiders? What are you doing? Not like the whole fire up, but you haven't won a damn thing in how long? You can't troll when you've been beaten like a drum. You can't do it. The loser can't troll. You're a loser. And then they deleted the video. If you're going to put it out there, leave it out there. Do it with your chest out, right? But they deleted it. Weak across the board.
He's going to hang 50 on him this year.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Antonio Pierce is going to be all fired up on the sidelines. They're going to lose by 50. Speaking of KC, is Travis Kelce insufferable yet for you? Has he reached a level of insufferable?
He probably doesn't bother me as much as he should. I'll say that.
The Taylor Swift stuff, it's fine. It's puppy dog love. Good for them. He irritates me with the post-game interviews. He's like singing Beastie Boys all the time. It's just he's trying to cut a WWE promo. That part bothers me. Well, the Kelce brothers apparently are coming out with a cereal. Or at least they're marketing cereals. Tony Barron from ESPN. The Kelce brothers are adding cereal namesake to their impressive resumes. Jason, who announced his retirement from the NFL after a 13-year career with the Eagles, and his brother Travis are teaming up to launch Kelce Mix. The cereal, which will hit shelves in September, is a combination of their three favorite brands, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms, and Reese's Puffs. In addition, General Mills will also launch 4 limited edition Kelce's Pick collectible boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Honey Nut Cheerios, Lucky Charms, and Reese's Puffs. I read about this. I didn't see any money going to charity, so might be a money pull. By the way, favorite cereals. Go ahead, Scaz. Tell me your top 3 cereals.
That's tough. Top 3 cereals. I'd have to go Cap'n Crunch, classic. Honeycomb.
Cap'n Crunch is good.
Honeycomb's probably up there. And then it's maybe kind of boring, but good Honey Nut Cheerios can never go wrong.
I can't do the Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm out on the apple cinnamon Honey Nut Cheerios. I messed around with for a little bit. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is I could eat that by the box when I was younger. Probably still could if I tried. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Lucky Charms. Big fan of Lucky Charms. So I'm really close with the Kelseys here. They had Lucky Charms and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I would agree with those two. I would also throw in Fruity Pebbles.